Now, it's time for a little R&R.
Ball into the bucket, lays it up and in.
Ball game, Rizzo! Live in the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios, this is Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 106.3.
This team is going to be tough when they finally get it together.
Sit back and relax. Let Russo and Rizzo take you home.
Oh, mercy! Light him up, Colin!
There's only a handful of programs, teams, I guess cities, that I enjoy watching them lose. I enjoy watching them lose emphatically with some dramatics and most importantly, embarrassingly. Duke is pretty high on that list.
Really? Why?
Right next to Notre Dame. Of the college programs, those two. Duke and Notre Dame. Love seeing them lose.
I root for Duke. So, Colin, the Duke and North Carolina rivalry, I root for Duke. So you're like Carolina on that spectrum?
You can't.
You're more Carolina on that spectrum?
I like Carolina more than I like Duke.
Really?
I can't. Duke is like Notre Dame. You either love them or you hate them in my book.
Okay.
You can't be indifferent on Duke. You can't do it. It's like being indifferent on the Patriots. You can't be like that. But Russo and Rizzo, ESPN 106.3, Monday, April the 7th edition, 2025. Colin Russo, Mike Rizzo, and Christian Cat with you, streaming live on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter/X at ESPN West Palm. Also on your radio dial at ESPN 106.3. We're live from the City Place Studios in downtown West Palm Beach. It's officially Masters Week. We got the national championship on the men's side coming up tonight between Houston and Florida. We got UConn getting back to the ranks. Gino Auriemma winning his 12th national championship with UConn women's hoops. One of the best, probably the best women's college basketball program in the history of the sport. They won another one yesterday by dominating South Carolina. They beat 3 1 seeds by a combined about 37 points, something like that.
Wow.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Combined, actually, excuse me, it was like 77 points.
It was 82 to 59, the final in that
82-59. They killed USC. Oh, God, they dominated. But a packed weekend that was mostly, characterized by what Duke did in that second of the Final Four games, both of which did well in the viewership-wise. But Florida played Auburn in the early part. Very good game. Good first half. Florida rumbled back, had a better second half than they did their first. That's been their theme of the tournament. They move on. We'll get into that one a little later on. But first, Duke against Houston. Duke going in is the heavy favorite, 5.5-point favorites going in. John Shire, they got 3 lottery picks in that starting lineup. They got a mixture of experience. They got a mixture of transfers. John Shire, the next coming in Elite 8, and then now to the Final Four, replacing Coach K. Duke, the brand, it's their year. There was no doubt about it that Duke was a level above the other 1 seeds, at least as so we thought, going into the tournament and going into that Final Four weekend. And despite having a 65-56 lead, despite really being in the driver's seat for, I would say, 98% of the game, out of the 40 minutes, I would say outward of the last 3, Duke was primarily in that driver's seat for the entirety of it. But Duke ends up losing, and one of the biggest collapses I think I've seen in a long time at the collegiate level, at a professional level. I can't compare it to a football game, but it smelled like Atlanta Falcons 28-3.
Oh God,
that's how much control Duke had in this game. They had no business losing this game, none. And to think about it, it being 64-55 with 2:17 to go. They were up 67-61 with 38 seconds left,
and they
lose. And they lose. But it's Duke. I love seeing it. And I enjoyed myself watching that. You, by the other means, were at a wedding during this.
Yeah. First off, I want to shout out Michelle and Mike Davis. It was a beautiful wedding at the Intercontinental in Chicago. Was very happy to be there. Colin saw some old friends I haven't seen in a long time. A lot of OU buddies that were there. So first off, shout out to Michelle and Mike. Secondly, I led the charge on the favorites, Kyle. The whole weekend, we were talking about our picks. We were talking about gambling. And I led the charge first on Florida. Florida covered. And I go, boys, take those winnings and put it all on Duke. For 2 halves, honestly, I'm sorry. For about a half and roughly 19 minutes, I could say, you're in the driver's seat. As you said, 64-55 with under 2:20 to go in the game. Oh, we're going to cover. It's going to be a great night. We're going to take our winnings to the bar. And no. Duke did, Duke put on one of the worst choke jobs I've seen in a long time. And the reason I say that, they were clearly the better team. They were clearly the better team. They had the better players. It was their year. I agree with you. It was their year. And they completely pooped the bed. I want you to take a victory lap, Colin. You looked at me. What was it? The Crossroad Classics? I always get it wrong. The Chicago tournament, Colin.
The Champions Classic.
You looked at me after the Champions Classic in November and go, Riz, your Kentucky Wildcats beat Duke because Duke does what John Shire Duke teams do. They give their freshmen the ball at the end of the game, and all hell breaks loose, and they can't make a play. And lo and behold, now the spread was already dead. The boys were already pissed. Damage done. But Duke still had a chance to win the game. They still had a chance to keep all their dreams in front of them. And Cooper Flagg took a horrible shot. No play call, no play design. You called that to a T. You called it to a T. And it's a shame we're not seeing Duke in this game tonight. I know we're going to talk about the national championship a little later, Colin. But to wrap this take up full circle, I'm worried you're going to see a Florida team that completely outclasses Houston. Because Duke completely outclassed Houston the entire game.
Well, that's part of the reason why I think Houston's going to be right in the game. Because this is what Houston does. You got to kill that team 9-10 times to really beat them. That's almost the allure of them. They're not impressive offensively. They make shots when they absolutely have to, when their backs are against the wall. They're littered with experience. They're very pesky. They don't get tired. They're excellent at pressuring the ball. And they got a little bit of magic. You want to talk about a team of destiny? Steve Palazzino said it last week, the good Karma Brent's president. Houston's got a little team of destiny to them. Talk about a team that's due. It's them. Kelvin Sampson took that team over, 10 years ago, 11 years ago, and has turned them into a perennial title contender. Houston, who has had success back in the 80s, of course, with Olajuwon and all those teams, but has not, in the past 20 years before he got there, done anything.
All right, so you're not sour on this matchup. I'm a little sour on the matchup.
I'm not, because I think
I'm
Houston,
a little sour.
because we haven't seen it, and Houston's going to be a pain in the rear end. That's going to be it. That's going to be the theme of the game.
I like this story, and before Kyle, we had to be ready for the wedding of 5. Before the wedding, I watched all the pregame coverage in San Antonio, and I love how Calvin Sampson trained this team. I love how they were the most fit. They're old school. They're the most fit team. Kenny Smith joked around and said, those are the guys at the beach with their shirt off that are the most fit bunch there. That's who they are. They weren't going to be outworked by anybody. And fair play to them for 2 minutes left in this game for scoring 15 points. They scored 15 points in about 2 minutes and 17 seconds. I mean, it's one of the bigger collapses in modern history, I think, on the college basketball side, Colin, Duke Blue Devils.
Let's think about this Duke for a second. Duke, they had a layup. Sion James had a layup. It had about 13:20 to go in the game. And for the rest of it, for the entirety of the game, it was just free throws except for 2 jumpers. Cooper Flagg had a 2-point jumper with about 10 minutes to go, and Cooper Flagg had a 3-point jumper with about 3 minutes to go. Other than that, they had 2 field goals in the last 13 minutes of the game.
Kyle, I was on so it was 60. What was that? 60. What's that famous 65 to what, Kyle? It was 217.
64-55.
Thank you. And when we were watching, and I go to the dance floor, and I start dancing at the wedding. And then all of a sudden, I get a tug from one of my buddies, my good buddy John Spolak. He goes, Riz, Duke's blowing it. I go, what? I said, that game was over. I said, they were under 2:20 left. They were up double digits. That game's over. Riz, they're blowing it. And we watched that whole thing unfold and watch us lose money. Everybody, and Colin, I felt like an idiot because I led the charge on it. You know what I mean? I led the charge on the Florida pick, and the people who lost the Auburn pick, Riz, who are we taking? Oh, we're going with the favorites. It's all about the Duke and Florida, the 2 team of destiny. Kyle, complete capitulation. Riz, you'd be better. Riz, they're blowing it. John.
Did you not have a problem coming into this wedding? Knowing that the Final Four was during it?
Hang on. John, what do you mean they're blowing it? They were up double digits with 2:17. What the hell? All right. Ask me that. What'd you say?
You did not have a problem with the fact that you were going into a wedding during the Final Four?
No, absolutely not. Listen, Mike Davis, great, good buddy. Colin, they took care of me when I was in Peoria for 3 years.
The wedding could be great.
And Mikey's a Northeast Ohio kid. Michelle's great as well. I had no problem. Problem.
It's a little selfish.
Why?
Let's think about it. Why don't we have a wedding during the Super Bowl next time, huh?
No.
Why don't we week 1 of the NFL season? Let's do our wedding 1:15 that Sunday.
You understand? Not every. I obviously the
Well, what
Goonies.
was everybody doing at the game?
The
what was everybody
Goonies.
doing on the dance floor?
Colin, we're
checking the Duke score.
We're Goonies. There was about 8 to 10 of us. You know what I mean? That were locked in on the phone.
Listen. Maybe maybe you're right. Maybe I shouldn't be talking from this mountain.
Kyle,
but I think that's a little much.
You
that's a top 5 Saturday of the year.
You, myself, and my friends, we're like a 5% in the country where we are locked into this game, locked into every call and everything that's going on.
It's a little selfish. I would never schedule a wedding on the day of the Final Four.
So
I would never.
You're calling my good buddies.
We'll postpone it a year.
Michelle and Mikey. If they're listening, you're calling them selfish.
A little bit, yeah.
No,
yeah.
come on.
Mike, it's like...
Colin, if families are involved on these decisions,
it doesn't
the
matter.
whole nine. Dude.
Look at the schedule. Look at the sports schedule. What, you want to do a wedding? Let's do the final round of the Masters. Let's do it then. Huh? It works backwards, too, because people in the wedding are going to be watching or half paying attention to the stuff that's going on during the wedding versus, if you're a sports fan at least, and you're going to be watching the game. Why don't we have the wedding during the Super Bowl? How about that?
Kyle, I led the charge on the Duke pick. I felt.
Am I wrong on this? It's selfish.
Christian, we are such fanatics. Like you and Christian,
20 million.
Christian,
20 million people watching.
Christian, you are. Colin and I are fanatics with college basketball, but you're more the casual side of college basketball. I don't think you would.
No, yeah, the couple that got married, they're not selfish. The Final Four Saturday is not that big of a deal.
That's what I mean.
I disagree completely.
It's not. It's not the Super Bowl. It's not. I'm.
It's the top 5 Saturday of the year.
I mean, if
they did it October 12th and there was the 5 great college games, including Ohio State, Oregon, would they be selfish?
Well, football's different. More people like football.
Correct.
20 million people watch the Final Four.
And you got to realize
that's comparable to a college football Saturday.
You got to realize that this wedding,
by the numbers,
when you add up every single game on that college football Saturday, no, it does not.
The primary night game, yeah, it is. That game.
Yeah, there's 2 basketball games.
14
and you're
million
talking about
watching.
A full day of football games.
Point being, Ohio State, Oregon. Anybody who's a self-respecting fan is going to tune into that. College football playoff round 1. Those games did probably comparable to the Final Four or the second round. Even the quarterfinals. Quarterfinals probably did 14, 15 million. What about then? Is it selfish then?
To Christian,
would you feel if there was during a Penn State game and they had 2 games on, would you feel this is a little selfish to throw a wedding now?
Not selfish, no. That's the one day that all of society, all of mankind has agreed that the bride and groom can be selfish.
Right.
Yeah, it kind of stinks. You get to get your jokes off a little bit, but it doesn't actually
and
bother
Colin,
you.
It's 2025. We had the
That's
game.
The problem.
We had
That's
the game
problem.
on, though.
That's the problem.
But to Christian's point,
doesn't want your full attention at the wedding, during the wedding?
But then you're talking about only maybe a list of 10 to 12 Saturdays on the entire calendar, and everyone's agreeing that's the prime time.
Right.
You're fighting for those days.
And
they're expensive as hell.
Out of all the people
from February to mid-March, and then from May to June, maybe July.
Christian, out of all the people at the wedding, 15% of us, and it was the Goonies, it was the OU boys, the booze hounds, that obviously probably sober for 4 years. By the way, saw a couple of my buddies for the first time in 8 years. I had to have the rough conversation of, I don't drink anymore, and I'm not going to be doing shooters with you guys till 3 a.m. That got brought up. But to Christian's point about the football side of things, these are I would say 50% of the wedding were Ohio and Northeast Ohio guys. Boys, they would never do it on a Buckeye weekend, and they certainly would never do it on a Sunday.
I'm not talking about this specific couple. I'm talking about generally. There's selfish days to have a wedding. Those are included.
No, it's not.
I had no problem with it. Honest God. And Colin, you know how much I love the sport.
Weekend,
I had no
do
problem.
it on a Friday. If it's that big of a sports weekend, do it on a Friday.
No, that's more selfish because you're asking people to take more days off of work.
Correct.
That's
don't schedule
more
it during
selfish.
Don't do it during the Final Four.
So you're going to, Christian, to your point, instead of taking off just Friday, I would have had to take it off Thursday, and I wouldn't have been able to have been on the first day of the
What
Hardy.
serious sports fan?
When we talked to Hutch.
Serious sports fans. You're trying to watch the Final Four, especially a great Final Four like what we just saw, and you're at a wedding? You're scheduling your wedding during it? Really?
There's only so many vacant Saturdays. Again, and those rates are so high.
This is a top 5. This is a top 5 weekend. You're acting like, listen,
no,
they did it
it's
at the
not.
Intercontinental in Chicago. You think they were paying pennies? No, they weren't. I don't think the money was that big of a deal.
What a hotel, by the way.
They're doing it at the Intercontinental in Chicago.
No. What a wedding, what a hotel.
They're not doing this out back at the barnyard. They're not doing that. All right? This is in Chicago.
Well, yeah, if they got a more primetime vacant summer day, they probably, I don't know these people, maybe they couldn't afford the Intercontinental. Seriously.
Maybe. I have no idea. We're hypothesizing on finances.
But
here.
at the same time, I think they were unselfish in the sense of I have a ton of weddings in June, July that I already am booked for. Mikey and Michelle did this in April. Like, it was perfect timing, honestly. Not football.
How can you say as a sports broadcaster, a guy who does this every day, this was perfect timing during the Final Four?
For me,
dude, stop.
Christian,
in
the sense of not during football season, okay? Not during... I'm trying to think of other.
You just watched one of the biggest collapses in Final Four history, and you're talking about how it's excellent timing during the.
Yes.
That's the dumbest thing.
So, an excellent timing in the sense of I'm a 30-year-old male who has 4 weddings to go to in the summer already.
Yeah, this is adult world,
happened
Colin.
in the spring.
Seriously. Like, you may compromise, you miss things when you're adults.
I agree.
Exactly. It happened in the spring.
It's a tough spot. I completely agree. But it's selfish.
And I wasn't missing this,
man. It's a selfish date.
I was not missing the special day for Mike and Michelle. I just couldn't do it.
Destination weddings are selfish. And Chicago's not the same thing, but destination weddings, it's a selfish thing. And you can't just make it about the bride and groom. They can't do whatever they want. You know what I mean? Like, it's like the same thing with that.
They kind of can. That's the
whole
idea.
They can.
Hang on,
but
Kyle,
you can still call it selfish.
Kyle, have you been to a buddy's wedding yet or anything like that? You'll understand.
I've been to like 2 weddings in my life.
Okay.
Well, were they friends?
Family. Both family.
So give it, partner.
You know when they did it? Early March. Wow. Excellent timing there, guys. It was great. It was great because everybody's focused. There was a 7-week period after the Super Bowl, and then there was a 3-month period after April's.
Not everyone revolves their lives around us. Like,
Colin, but also, we live in South Florida. That would work for us 7 weeks after the Super Bowl. But that cuts where you want to have your wedding in half because you don't want to do it in a snowstorm.
Right, and
so that's not a perfect time.
It depends on where you are. Sure, yeah, you're risking it a little bit. Indoor, outdoor wedding, fine. But they're doing it in Chicago in April. They're rolling the dice.
Kyle, and hang on, to that point, I know we're up against it on the clock, Kyle, but maybe when we come back, I got a gripe with the city. I don't have a gripe with Mikey and Michelle and the wedding. The wedding was beautiful. The Intercontinental was perfect. I had a king-sized room. It was amazing. But I specifically have a problem with the city of Chicago.
I specifically have a problem with you saying it was perfect timing that they scheduled this wedding during the Final Four.
In the sense of not during football season and not during the summer where I already have 4 weddings, it was during the perfect time. It was during the perfect time.
I don't know. There's not a
football
lick
season
of you
is
that
a no-go.
That. There's not a lick of you that should believe that.
Christian, with our high school obligations, I did work with Kaiser. Shout out to our Kaiser Seahawks and Chris Swagger, our AD.
This is about the sports that are attached to the area.
Kyle, football season is an absolute no-go, and I have 4 weddings this summer. It was perfect timing for me and Mike Davis and Michelle.
A sports broadcaster saying that's pretty telling.
It's not like he's on the call with CBS.
This is our job to watch these games. This is our job.
I watched the game.
No, you didn't. Don't sell me on that.
I watched the game. I told you, my buddy John.
I understand. You're in a tough spot. That's a wedding. You're in a tough spot.
I'm on the dance floor, Christian. It's all in the shoulders, kid. All of a sudden,
you're at a wedding. I understand.
Comes up to me,
but you did not watch the game. And you made that sacrifice when you went to the wedding. That's fair. But I could blame the bride and the groom.
Christian, I hear in my ear, Riz, they're blowing it. What? That game was over. I was 11. That game was over.
There's football season. You don't schedule weddings. There's Super Bowl weekend, playoff weekends. You don't schedule weddings. And there's the Final Four where you don't schedule weddings.
But is this I got Kyle. I got some of the wedding party texting me. They go, it's not a top 5 sports weekend.
I'd listen to the NBA Finals. I'd listen to the Stanley Cup Finals because usually, unless it's not a Game 7, which it usually isn't.
Rivalry weekend in college football?
Fine.
Game 5 of the World Series. Big wrestling match you want to go to?
See, this is why I don't take you seriously. This is why you.
Am I under that? I'm not under that category.
You do not schedule a wedding during the Final Four. During the Final Four. If you're a sports fan, you're not scheduling a wedding then. That is a waste of time.
Yeah, the Final Four is below the first weekend of the NCAA tournament.
Fine. That still applies.
I can't wait.
If they schedule would you be happy or sad that you've got a wedding that weekend?
Compromise. I'd be saying that stinks to get over it 30 seconds later.
I can't wait in 3 to 4 years when a lot of Mr. Russo's friends start settling down.
Well,
he gets an invitation.
I'll send my box in the mail, and I'll let you know how the Final Four is.
He gets an invitation to one of his best buddies, whatever it may be, and it's during the Sweet 16 or something. And Colin's going to have to go. And you're going to have to go. Kyle, you got to go.
And you're going to have a good time. You'll be like, wow.
Great time.
I would love to watch that television show. But you know what? I like the camaraderie of seeing my friends again, having a bunch of drinks, having a good time.
Kyle, with my friends, I'm a staple.
And you could do that any other weekend of the year. Believe it or not. You could do it outside of the Final Four.
You can.
I'm not
the bride and
the
groom can't.
Right.
You're under the impression that the Intercontinental had a deal on the Final Four weekend. That was not the case. All right? So let's stop that right there.
If money was not at play, then schedules were at play.
Right.
So I'm sure they ran through the numbers before they consulted Colin Russo. I'm sure there's a reason why.
They don't need to consult me. They need to consult the sports calendar. That's what they need to consult. This is crazy.
You're a miserable man. That's what you are.
How is this me being miserable? It's
because
selfish.
you're trying to make Rizzo miserable.
You would have skipped.
I'm not saying Rizzo. I'm
Colin,
Rizzo.
What? I'm going to tell
Rizzo's in a tough spot.
I'm going to tell Mikey and Michelle I'm not going. Come on, mate.
I'm saying,
you know how ridiculous that sounds.
I'm saying you're in a tough spot. I agreed with you. But I'm saying the prospect of having a wedding at that time, because why can we say it during college football season, but not during the Final Four?
Because we agree, football is different.
Final Four got 20 million people watching it. Wait, what?
You're talking.
I'm talking about public interest.
I'm
talking about public interest.
Yeah, you're public interest higher in college football regular season than the Final Four.
No, not stats wise.
Well, let's bring the numbers during the break and we'll compare.
Not even close. There's no
even close.
Rivalry week does 20 million. The other ones do not. 20 million people watch those games. So if you want to talk about people didn't care, then that means you two didn't care. That's more telling about you two.
I told you a lot of it was...
There was public interest in the sporting event, similar to how there was public interest in Wild Card Weekend, AFC Championship Weekend. I'm allowed to say that it's selfish. 888-760-3776. Is it selfish to plan a wedding during the Final Four big sporting weekends at that? And 888-760-3776, the number to get into the program.
And even take it a step further, what's a no-no? I didn't think the Final Four was a no-no for a wedding, but to take it a step further on the question.
You're not a college basketball fanatic then. Let's just go.
It's not true, dude.
All right, they're true.
You know that's Colin. You know that's not true. You do a show with me every day. You know that's not true. If it's
not a big deal, the Final Four is a big deal.
It's a big deal, but
2 excellent games. That's what happened. 888-760-3776. Number to get into the program. I think it's a little selfish. I'm not going to bash them for it. No, it's a wedding. What am I going to do? But it's a little selfish, and I'm allowed to say that. Similar to how a destination wedding, you could say they're selfish for that as well. Taking the time out here on Russo and Rizzo, ESPN 106.3.
Live from the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 1-800-747-FREE. This is ESPN 106.3.
You ever try fixing your car and realize you're missing that one part? Yeah, been there. That's why eBay's my go-to. They've got millions of parts, guaranteed to fit. I'm talking brake pads for when yours have seen one too many miles of stop and go. Oil filters, because you don't mess around with your engine care. Even got this cold air intake on my watch list. I might just go for it. To keep the ride cool and your DIY streak high. Find all the parts you need at prices you'll love. Guaranteed to fit every time. eBay. Things. People. Love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Who's cutting down the nets this year? Get in on all the tournament action at ESPN Bet Sportsbook. Go from tracking the latest upsets to placing bets in just a few taps. Right now, new customers can get $100 in bonus bets when you make your first $10 wager. Download the ESPN Bet Sportsbook app and sign up with promo code JQ to get started today. Must be 21 plus. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Terms and conditions apply. See app for details. Offer not available in New York.
As market dynamics change, the quality of service you receive from your accounting firm shouldn't. Anshin Accountants and Advisors take the time to get to know you and your unique circumstances to help resolve complex issues and develop innovative tax and accounting solutions tailored to meet your goals. If you're a high net worth individual or business owner eager for a strategy to maximize tax savings, let Anshin deliver where others can't. Visit anchin.com. Anshin Accountants and Advisors, recalculating what's possible.
Good people. Steele Dorsey.
May the force be with you.
Roger Dean Chevrolet Stadium is hosting Star Wars Night presented by FPL on Saturday, April 26th at 6 p.m. Come see the Jupiter Hammerheads and Palm Beach Cardinals face off in a galaxy not too far away. Take pictures with your favorite movie characters and enjoy the fireworks after the game. To purchase tickets and to find out more information, stop by the ticket office or visit RogerDeanChevroletStadium.com.
Panthers fans, the season is winding down. The Cats are making their final push into the playoffs. Join the ESPN West Palm Street team and Coors Light at Mulligan's in Jensen Beach on Thursday, April 10th from 6 to 8 p.m. to watch the Panthers take on the Red Wings. Come cheer on the Cats, enjoy ice-cold Coors Lights, and you'll have a chance to win Florida Panthers tickets. See you Thursday at Mulligan's in Jensen Beach. Must be 21 or older to participate, and Molson Coors reminds you to please drink responsibly.
Want to accelerate your career as a manager or executive in the exciting industry of sports? Florida Atlantic University's MBA in Sport Management program is ranked #1 in Florida and 10th in the world. Students learn practical and applied skills from top faculty and experts who work in the industry. With a 94% placement rate for all grads, the full-time MBA program sets students up for success in the world of sports. Check out Florida Atlantic University's MBA in Sport Management program today by going to business.fau.edu.
Let's get back to the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. This is Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 106.3.
You've been in a car accident, truck accident, suffered a slip and fall. My friends Mark Anajar and Glenn Levine over at Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys, they're here to fight for you. They don't charge you unless you win. They work tirelessly to get you the maximum compensation that you deserve. Don't settle if there's any attorney. Demand Anajar and Levine today because that's the Anajar and Levine difference. All it takes is one phone call. Take back control of your life. Don't wait. Call for that free consultation today. That's 1-800-747-FREE. 1-800-747-3733. Take back control now with Anajar and Levine. Russo and Rizzo rolling on here on a Monday edition of the program, April 7th, 2025. Post-Final Four where Duke blew the game in the last 2 minutes against Houston, and Houston advances, and they will play Florida, who had a strong second half against Auburn, and they will face off tonight, 8:50 tip-off in the national championship on the collegiate side of things. UConn won their 12th under Gino Auriemma on the women's college basketball sides. Dominated. Gino, one of the great coaches in the history of basketball, not just women's basketball. But Mike Rizzo was at a wedding over the weekend in Chicago during the games. And apparently, according to Christian Catt and Mike Rizzo, it is selfish for me to say that that wedding, in its definition, the timing of it is a little selfish. So it's selfish for me to say that a wedding timing is selfish. And my rebuttal is, of the great sports events of the year, Final Four is up there. It's up there. That's the truth. It's up there because 20 million people watched it. And that's included with me, but if you want to quantify
I watched. What do you mean?
No, you didn't.
Yes, I did.
I don't want to quantify public perception, but that's the best way we could do it.
Christian,
how many people are talking about it? How many people watched it?
Christian, I'll tell you what. The people at the networks are counting the eyeball on the phone that we were watching it on, okay? I watched.
+1.
Yes.
And you know what? It wasn't well represented because 6 people were watching your phone.
Exactly. Misrepresented, Kyle. What do you got to say to that?
So you're saying more people watch it than actually the number is?
If you
so 30 million people watch it.
If
all the weddings in the world, add about 30.
That's true.
For everything that I said this past segment, there are a ton of weddings we all have to go to, and Kyle, you'll get there. There are a ton of weddings we all have to go to this summer. Okay, there are a ton of stuff that's going on in the summer. I am actually thankful to Mike and Michelle for putting this thing in April, so we, it's. I understand it was on Final Four weekend, but I still think Thanksgiving, like the Thanksgiving weekend, Kyle, the opening weekend of NFL, the opening weekend of college football.
We're going to have a conversation.
The opening.
I mean, that's when everyone knows they're in
but
town.
like football.
It's the worst travel day of the year on Sunday, especially if you're traveling.
No, Kyle. I'm talking big sports weekends, though. And then I understand who would be traveling during that. I get the point. But I am completely fine with, hey, Riz, there's 2 minutes left. Duke's blowing it. Going over there, watching it, reading up about it afterwards, and watching the highlights. I know you think that's phony, but at the same time, I think it was very important for me to be at that wedding.
You could avoid this altogether by having the wedding on a separate
date.
And
by the way, Christian, the groom has responded. My good buddy Mike Davis says, Riz, tell Russo to kick rocks and hope his closest friend's wedding is during Wisconsin versus the Buckeyes this fall at 8 p.m. on ESPN Game Day. And you want to know the most sad part about that? Is that Colin couldn't give 2 iots about that game because he hates his school.
That's not true.
Colin hates his school. He's not a Badger fan.
2 things.
Colin's not even a Badger football fan.
2 things.
And he went there.
2 things. Mike, none of my best friends would schedule a wedding during Wisconsin-Ohio State. That's number 1. Huh? So
are all your best friends in relationships?
Some of them.
And maybe the ones that aren't, you haven't met this woman yet. Maybe she's a little controlling. And maybe she decides because her family can make it on this certain day.
They're going to have to deal with some empty chairs.
I guarantee
they're going to have to deal with some empty chairs.
Before you keep going, Colin, I guarantee you, Colin's going to text us 5, 6 years down the line. Guys, you won't believe it. So-and-so has this wedding, and I got to go. When you're adults, you make compromises.
Correct. Because Aunt Jeannie can't make it and she can't fly if the wedding's there.
Right.
You do things you don't want to.
You have an older grandmother. You know what I mean?
But it's the wedding and it's the groom and the bride's decision to set the date, right? Yes or no? Yes.
Well, I guess they got a final rule, but what do you got?
The families, it's the parents and usually the bride and groom, usually their decision to set the date. Am I right or am I wrong on this?
Yes, a combination of the people who are paying for it and the people that are getting married.
Bang. Bingo. So they set the date. We, as the people attending, yes, have to make compromises. Mike had to make a compromise because Mike had to go to the wedding. I'm not faulting him for going to a wedding. I can't do that.
Sounds like you are.
No, I'm not. I'm faulting the bride and the groom for deciding to make that date. You can't make it that date. That's not fair. You can't do that. You can't put... Masters Saturday would have been better. Masters Saturday because all the rounds are finished. That would have been better. How about you push it a week? That would have worked. 2 weeks from now.
Everyone's flying out 4 o'clock. They miss the exciting conclusion of the tournament.
All right, it's your decision to schedule that flight. We go early.
We are.
That is an avoidable problem.
Colin, we are the 5% of fan that it's totally dude. Colin, not everyone is like us, man.
This is a life experience thing, dude.
It is.
I'm telling you.
Not everyone is like us. Who
you
lives
still at your heart of hearts, our guy in the dorm room was saying, "What's your excuse for not watching the Badgers last night?"
But you're going to say the same thing about if a Penn State college football playoff game, because then now there's levels to it. So how can you say the same thing about this is not a life experience thing when you would call it selfish if Penn State and Notre Dame they scheduled a wedding during that?
Yes, on New Year's Eve or New Year's Day, I forgot which it was, when it was Penn State versus Boise State, I had to watch the game on mute and I missed the whole third quarter. It sucked. But I made the compromise because it was an obligation. Not a wedding. No, it was at a girlfriend's family thing.
Okay.
But Colin, even when I was in school, we'd be at the bar. I'd be living and dying every single play. My friends who I saw over the weekend, like Jess and Randy, that are girls, they go, Riz, you're freaking crazy. You're screaming about every call.
This is
Colin, not everyone's like us.
This is a personal interest thing. This is not whether it's a right and wrong thing with the bride and groom. Because your personal interest with anything in college football season triumphs the Final Four here. And that's why you were okay with it being during the Final Four, and you weren't okay, and you wouldn't be okay with it because you can't fault me because I value watching the Final Four. And you'd say the same thing if they did it during Ohio State, Michigan, or they would
never. Mike Davis would never do it during Ohio State,
Mike Davis
Michigan.
wouldn't do it now. So Ohio State, Oregon, October 12th. If they scheduled it during then and that night, and you'd have availability to watch the games during the day, but Ohio State, Oregon, which was the night game on ABC, if they scheduled it during then, you'd call it selfish.
Colin, no.
But now we draw the line.
Here's my problem.
At the Final Four.
I wouldn't be able to go, and my friends who would be inviting me to a wedding would understand, hey, guys, Riz, if we're doing this here, Riz can't go. Riz can't go. My friends abundantly know that football season is off limits.
That's a personal interest thing.
It's
exactly what I said.
Season is
it's
off
a personal
limits.
interest thing.
So I physically can't be there anyway. But the Final Four is one of those weekends, I could be there. We're not live there. We're not doing shows there. Colin, are we talking about Duke and the biggest
You're
collapse?
making it seem like it's a work thing. I'm talking about a personal interest thing. You would be able to get out of work if you needed to go to a wedding in October. You'd be able to do that.
I disagree with
Yes,
our high school obligations.
We work at the same place. We would be able to do that.
Christian, I disagree.
Christian
Brian,
went to Italy for 10 days during football season, dude.
I still don't know what happened in the regular season game between the Bengals and Chiefs.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Here's
You'd be able to figure that out.
I set those boundaries that during football season's off limits. It's been like that. It's been like this for me since college. We have a caller.
888-760-3776.
We have a caller,
into the program. Yep, I got it. 888-760-3776. Is it selfish to schedule a wedding the same weekend, same day, same time as a giant sporting event like the Final Four? Yes or no? 888-760-3776. We go to Jeff in Palm Beach Gardens. You're on Russo and Rizzo. Jeff, hello. What's up?
How are you guys?
Good. What do you got in your mind?
First off, I wouldn't care what you guys think. If it was if I'm making the date up with my wife, first of all, she's going to pick it no matter what. I'm probably not going to have a say in it, but I would have to go with whatever she thought, and you guys would have to work around it. I'm sorry, they're not going to work around your schedule or a sporting event schedule for that matter.
So, Jeff, why don't you schedule it during the Super Bowl? How about that?
I have to watch the Super Bowl during the wedding. Anyone knows you because they got phones.
Uh-huh.
I disagree with that. That is inherently a selfish decision, no?
Jeff, he'll learn. Jeff, he's young.
No, Jeff knows I'm right. Jeff knows I'm right. Everybody in
hang
that
on,
wedding would
Jeff,
resent
stay
you
on.
and your
Yeah,
wife if it was
hang
during
on,
the
Jeff,
Super
stay
Bowl.
on.
Come on, Jeff.
We have a sports talk host here who celebrated the anniversary during the Super Bowl and did watch the Super Bowl on his phone. Did it deter his ability to analyze the Super Bowl the following day?
Probably.
No, it
Probably
didn't.
did if I had to listen back.
way.
Probably did.
No way. It's our job as men to make sure we watch the sporting events no matter what. Yeah, the wife might get mad, but we'll find a way to watch it. Unfortunately, yeah, it's going to come down to the woman and the family. If they're paying for it, they're going to decide the date. You could try, but it's never going to happen. And the people have to work around it. If you don't show up, I'm not going to be mad. If you tell me, listen, this is my job, send the money. I don't care as long as you send the gift. But I understand both sides, but it's always going to be the woman and the person and the people paying for the wedding. It's very hard to I don't know. I don't agree.
Jeff, are you married?
My wife passed away 4 years ago, but yes, I was.
I'm sorry to hear that. What date did you guys get married?
May 30th, my birthday.
Great time to get married.
Jeff compromised on his birthday.
He did. And
Hold
Jeff,
on. That's a
Jeff,
that's
I
a-
want
that's
Jeff,
a double whammy.
Jeff, you got to realize, part. I'm not trying to sit here like I'm Gandalf the White and I'm the wisest in the land here. But at 30 years old, I've been to my fair share of weddings, partner, all right? I've been through 5 wedding seasons. Colin is 22, and he has yet been through a wedding season. Explain to him some of these things you just got to roll with.
You do. It's unfortunate. And I didn't like when my friends had these exotic weddings in places, but, like when you're in a wedding party, you got no choice. It's just wedding season is wedding season. And like I said, it's always going to be the woman's choice. We could try saying as men, I wanted a say in it, but it's ultimately going to come down to what she wants because our job as men is to make the women happy.
Agreed, Jeff.
Appreciate the call, Jeff.
Thank you, Jeff.
888-760-3776. Is it selfish to schedule a wedding during a major sporting event?
Con, you're a groomzilla. If you show up to your wedding planning and you've got a laundry list of dates, you only get maybe 5 vetoes. Like, okay, we're not doing these certain fall Saturdays.
100%.
And that is still asking a lot out of a wedding planner and a bride-to-be.
So let me get this
Kyle's
straight.
not going to be at a lot of his buddies' weddings.
You got 5 vetoes. You got 5. He's talking about planning a wedding. So, like, if and when I'm getting married and I'm trying to set a date, and I understand the missus in this scenario would definitely be deciding.
You have no choice, bro.
The wait. I don't understand. But the missus is going to have to use her head and understand that if it's during the college football playoff, if it's during the NFL playoffs, if it's during the NCAA tournament, and if it's during, we can have a conversation about the World Series. We have to just plan ahead. Understand that. If it's unless there's a Game 7 supposed to be scheduled that day, we'll likely be okay.
Christian, when Colin has a significant other and they get down to the whole marriage part, do me a favor and remind him to tell his significant other to hashtag use her head when it comes to planning the wedding. You have no say.
You want people to show up and be watching the Duke game on their phone? You want people to be showing up, having a good time, and
it's going to be Game 7
in the moment.
It's going to be your wedding is going to be.
No, it's
guess
not.
What?
We're calling
your
it
wedding
off.
is going to be Game 7 during the World Series. And I'm gonna wherever we may be, I'm gonna come on the air and light you a new one.
Colin,
not doing it.
What's the biggest thing you've ever missed? Biggest sporting event you just, for some reason or another, were not able to watch it live on TV?
I was thinking about when I was abroad, but I watched the Super Bowl live. It was terrible. I watched the NCAA tournament live. I've missed a handful of big NBA playoff games because of travel. So I can't
Colin,
think of one
shame on you.
specifically.
You shouldn't be traveling during these games.
Well, I didn't miss the NBA Finals, but I missed certain dates. So there's something to be said. Okay. David in West Palm Beach, you're on Russo and Rizzo joining us now. David, hello. What's going on?
Okay, guys, so I can just imagine before the age of Copernicus, before the age of telescopes, when everyone thought the world was flat, they also thought the sun and the moon and the stars revolved around the earth.
Mm-hmm.
At the center of all this is Colin saying, no. It all revolves around my schedule and what I think is important.
Jeff, this is the sports. David, this is a sports fan's perspective. This
David,
is not just mine.
He'll learn.
This
David.
is a sports fan.
Let me finish it. Let me finish this, Colin. Now, just a minute. Now, what all the rest of mankind who eventually finds a woman they're in love with discovered is it doesn't revolve around Colin or the man. It revolves around what the woman wants and when she wants her wedding, and that's the way it's going to be, Colin. I wish it were different, but it isn't.
All right, David.
David, he'll learn.
This is about.
He has never been through a wedding season.
So hold on. So we could determine something here. If it's all circling back to how it's the woman's decision, am I not allowed to say that maybe it was a little selfish on her part to choose the date of the Final Four?
No.
All I'm saying is if it's selfish or not. I'm not
It's
saying whether
her
they should
day.
or not. I understand the rules of the game. That's the rules of the game that David just brought up.
Christian, every woman dreams about her wedding day.
Yes.
This is something they've thought about since they were 8 years old playing dress up with their Barbies. Okay? Every single woman wants it to be the perfect day. Who am I to tell her,
the same
honey,
exact day, just a week later?
Who am I to tell her, honey,
Just a
you
week
can't do
later.
it.
No,
You can't do it like that. I'm sorry. You have no choice in this matter. None.
Just push it a week. It's the same exact day.
Not possible. It's not up to you, bro.
It's not possible.
It's not up to you.
Fine, but you guys just bring it up. It's
If it
selfish.
was so
All I'm
easy-
saying is whether it's selfish or not, and you guys keep circling back to it's not our decision, which tells me that you guys agree with me in some capacity. But it's not our decision. That's it. That's where we're at.
But concerning oneself
And
does
Mike's
not
not
make them
saying anything
selfish.
because Mike agrees.
Dude, it's not up to me, but Christian,
That's it. That's
Listen,
where we're at.
It's not up to us as men. I agree with everything the callers are saying. And listen, this all stems from me going to my buddy Mike and my buddies Mike and Michelle's wedding during the Final Four. Yes, I probably should have been locked into the game for the job, but guess what? I'm locked in every single day. Colin, I got HR tell me I need to take days. We had 16
You don't need to
PTO
prove
days.
anything to me. You don't need to prove anything here because
All right?
you at the Final Four, you were on the dance floor. Phil and Boynton Beach, you're joining Russo and Rizzo.
And then John, my good buddy John, John comes up.
Thank God John was a lifeline.
They're blowing it.
What do you mean they're blowing
Mike?
it? They were up 11 points with 2 minutes left, and we already cashed the check.
You got to find a TV and airplay it. Phil and Boynton Beach, you're joining us now on Russo and Rizzo. Phil, hello. What's going on?
How you doing, brothers? A good show. Listen, Colin's going to be single for an awful long time. And
That we agree with. That we agree with.
Yeah. Hey, and didn't he say who wears the pants?
Did I say that?
Did he just say that? I think somebody said it, didn't he, or no?
I think that was Phil thinking that.
Hang on, Phil. We don't wear the pants on that day, and you know that.
Okay, absolutely. You don't know wear them any day. But here's an old joke for you. Listen, this couple gets married. They go to the hotel. The guy takes his pants off and throws them to the lady. She put them on. She puts them on. They fall down. So then she takes her pants off and says, "Here, put them on." And he says, "I can't fit into them." He says, "That's the way it's going to be until your attitude changes."
Is this an anecdote that I
miss the punchline? Phil,
Phil, what are we talking about here?
I thought somebody said something about wearing the pants in the family or something. So that's what
Phil, I got my pants.
Phil, is it selfish?
I got my pants on.
Is it selfish to schedule a wedding on a day of a huge sporting event? Yes or no?
The day what? I couldn't hear you.
Is it selfish to schedule a wedding on the date of a big sporting event like the Final Four?
No, but just look at try to juggle the time, you know? You maybe miss a little bit of it, or
to Mike's point,
or you can catch the end of it.
So the groom texts back. He goes, yeah, thanks, Phil. He goes, the ceremony was actually before the first game even began, Riz. Everyone was locked in. So, yeah, I mean, Kyle, they had at least the understanding of that. I'm completely fine
so
with
nobody
this.
the 5% of people care, or everybody was locked in before the game. So people have to care.
Can I circle back to Phil? I think Phil just wanted to take his pants off, boys.
Yeah, that was I don't know.
I don't know what was going on there, but
we appreciate on the anecdote there.
We appreciate the call.
I was a little confused in the anecdote. I understand the idea of what he was getting at. Not wearing the pants in the relationship.
I think we missed the joke. I think there was a funny joke in there somewhere, and I missed the joke.
Went over my head.
Maybe.
He couldn't fit into his wife's. Listen.
We go to Boynton Beach. Dwayne in Boynton Beach. You join us now on Russo and Rizzo. Dwayne, what's up?
What's up, guys?
How you doing?
My man, D.
What do you got for us?
Colin, you, I can tell you're young. I really can. Just by the way you're talking. Okay, let me explain the joke. What he was saying was,
it's the Phil joke.
If you don't agree with her, you won't get in her pants.
Oh, I see, Phil.
Okay.
I see.
What he was saying.
Dwayne,
that's what he was saying now.
Okay.
Come June, I would have been married 30 years.
Congratulations.
Right?
That's excellent.
And that is saying something. Thank you. Colin, what you need to find is a woman who is a sports fan.
Yeah.
If you just get a regular old woman, no, it's not selfish to her because she's not a fan. She could care less about the NCAA, whatever, because she doesn't do sports.
Right.
You need to find a woman who's a sports fan. And then you say, well, such and such is this weekend. And she'll say, yeah, baby, you're right. Let's move it. But if you just get a regular old woman who's not in the sports, it's not selfish because she could care less.
Now, Dwayne, you know what's great? You got married in June. That's a great time to get married.
Yes.
Dwayne, I'm understanding. Dwayne, I'd go to your wedding. I would be there. It wouldn't be a problem to me. We're not missing much. That's why it's okay.
Dwayne, he doesn't get it. Partner, he doesn't get it.
Colin's got to find a woman that makes him feel like Kemba Walker made him feel in 2011.
Correct.
And then he'll make these compromises.
What I can't wait is when his wife schedules it, UConn first round NCAA tournament 8 versus 9. Right, Dwayne?
Right, because she doesn't know the importance or the significance of that in your life. Find a woman who's a sports fan. Happy wife, happy life. Remember that.
Appreciate it, Dwayne. Good call.
That was a great one. By the way, leave it to that completely flew over my head, that Phil joke. Shout out to Phil and Dwayne.
I thought he was telling a story. I didn't realize he was trying to give us an example.
That's what I said. I think Phil's just trying to take his pants off at this point. But
we got to do our Keep Your Cool temperature check presented by John C. Cassidy Air Conditioning and Plumbing. Coming up on the flip side of things on Russo and Rizzo, ESPN 106.3.
Live from the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 1-800-747-FREE. This is ESPN 106.3.
What's the Anajar and Levine difference? When you're injured in a car crash, we focus on your case so you can focus on the one thing that matters most, getting better. I'm Glenn Levine with Anajar and Levine. We'll fight to get you the maximum compensation you deserve. Call our legal team right now for a free consultation. 1-800-747-FREE. We'll help you take back control of your life. Call 1-800-747-FREE. That's 1-800-747-3733. In office, West Palm Beach.
Mondays just got better for the men of Palm Beach County. Unlimited Auto Wash is offering $5 off any wash every Monday at all 6 convenient locations. Men's Monday at Unlimited Auto Wash. Don't miss it.
Hi, I'm Michael Manzo, owner and founder of Manzo's Italian Deli, and
Stop, Dad. After 20 years, people are tired of hearing your voice.
Yeah, and your lame-ass commercials.
Fresh prosciutto, mozzarella, outstanding.
Oh, please.
There's only one reason Manzo's is voted #1 deli in Palm Beach County for 20 years. our mother.
She makes sure you prepare everything from scratch using only the freshest ingredients.
Manso's Italian Deli is located on Palm Beach Lakes Boulevard, right next to Rain Dancers.
Is that a strip club?
No, it's a steakhouse. Manso's is open weekdays from 8 to 5 and offers free delivery. So stop by or call 697-9411. That's 697-9411.
We also specialize in hot and cold catering for corporate functions and special events.
Just ask anyone who was at my last birthday party.
What would you do with an extra $700? You can earn up to $700 per year with Boost Checking from Flagler Credit Union. Boost Checking pays 7.0 annual percentage yield on balances up to $10,000. That's up to $700 extra to do what you love. Boost Checking from Flagler Credit Union. Requirements apply to earn the highest dividend rates. Limit one checking account per membership. Dividend rates and annual percentage yield subject to change. Business accounts do not qualify. Insured by NCUA, proud partner of Florida Atlantic University Athletics.
St. Lucie Mets baseball is back at Clover Park. April's jam-packed with exciting action at the ballpark. There's something for everybody. There's Silver Sluggers Club on Tuesdays. They got $2 night on Thursdays with $2 beers, hot dogs, soda, and popcorn. Every Friday is Vets at the Mets, where veterans and active military get into the ballpark for free. And don't miss the best fireworks show on the Treasure Coast after all 3 Saturday games in April. Visit stluciemets.com to get those tickets today. That's stluciemets.com.
Let's get back to the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. This is Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 106.3.
888-760-3776, number to get into the program on Russo and Rizzo. April the 7th, 2025. Colin Russo, Mike Rizzo, and Christian Cat with you. You know, with the Final Four, if you can't watch it because you're at a wedding, at the very least, you could sprinkle some action on it with Hard Rock Bet.
I'll tell you what, we sprinkled action all weekend long, and I'll tell you what, Christian, I was the leader in the house on the Duke train. Only going 65, 50, oh, we're good. We're, up 11, under 220 to go. Riz, they're blowing it. Blowing it. Folks, Hard Rock Bet is that place to do it here in South Florida. I might have lost on that Duke game, but guess what? All my winnings that I won on March Madness betting the favorites, Christian, it's all getting put on Florida tonight. So to let you guys know, all right, about 250 units I had after the first Final Four game, and then I put 150 of those units on Duke. So I was $10 bets on Hard Rock Bet, $10 bets on Hard Rock Bet, all on the favorites. I had 250 units. I put 150 units on Duke, and that's what happened. But guess what? I'm making my money tonight with Florida on the Hard Rock Bet app. Folks, join me, the coldest better, at least in the MLB on this side of the Mississippi. Join me on Hard Rock Bet. Download the app today. It is a free download on the Apple App Store, Google Play Store. I'm huge on Florida tonight. It's been the favorites all tournament. I know
you didn't
Duke,
watch Houston. You don't even know
yes,
if they're capable.
Yes, we watched the games, Colin. We have phones. It's 2025. We watched the games. But download the Hard Rock Bet app today, offered by the Seminole Tribe of Florida. Must be 21 and physically present in the state of Florida to wager. Terms and conditions apply. If you're concerned about gambling, call 1-888-ADMIT-IT. That's 1-888-ADMIT-IT. We are all Gator fans tonight on the Hard Rock Bet app.
Myself, Mike, and Christian, it's time for us to, after the Duke collapse, after UConn won over the weekend, after you got a big week in the NBA as seeding battles are in the thick of it right now, it's time for us to do a little bit of a temperature check. Let's do a Keep Your Cool temperature check presented by John C. Cassidy, Air Conditioning and Plumbing.
Keep your cool. This is the Temperature Check.
Mostly sunny, highs in the lower 80s.
Presented by John C. Cassidy Air Conditioning and Plumbing, keeping Palm Beach County cool since 1960.
Plenty of sunshine today with seasonal temperatures. We should reach our...
John C. Cassidy Air Conditioning and Plumbing, proudly serving Palm Beach County since 1960, keeping homes cool and comfortable. It's starting to get hot here in Florida. Go check them out today, CassidyAC.com. All right, so how this works when we do our temperature check, presented by John C. Cassidy, is Mike, Christian, and myself will go around the table a little bit to a team that is keeping their cool under the heat in the blistering sun. Who's keeping their cool in that environment, and who is faltering to the heat, to the pressure, the whole thing? We'll go around, give one apiece, and we'll start with me because I'm going to steal the easy one because I watched the game. And I can, unlike you two. And it's Duke. Talk about a team that's not keeping your cool in a tough, pressure, heated environment. It's Duke. It's because we haven't even had a chance to talk about it because we're talking about weddings. But John Shire late game, he's got a little Calipari in him in the sense that it goes late game and he goes, all right, best player, here's the ball. Go figure it out and win the game. They had 2 field goals in the last 13 minutes of the game, and both of them were Cooper Flagg. Cooper Flagg is a great player. I can't even knock him for that last shot. It wasn't the worst look in the world, but the fact that they called that play and the 4 games they lost all year, whether it be to Clemson, Kansas, Kentucky, or that game to Houston, they gave the ball to Cooper Flagg in the last minute of every single one of those games. And he turned it over against Kentucky. He turned it over against Kansas. Then Con Knippel, another freshman, turned it over at the end of Kansas. And he turned the ball over at the end of Clemson. They escaped that Auburn game where they had him. Kept him at bay the whole game. And that was the other close game they played. And they're basically the last close game that Duke played all year was UNC in that big ACC tournament where UNC handed them the game off a free throw violation at the end of it, when UNC probably had every chance to win the game had that not happened. So I'm at the point there where Duke, who was not battle-tested all year, it's a testament to the ACC. And the second it did get tested, they gave it to a guy who's a great player, who is the number 1 overall pick in the draft, without a doubt, but is 18 years old and is not a give me the ball, get out of the way, and I'll go get us a basket type player. And they asked him to do that, and they faltered. Talk about a team that's not keeping their cool under the heat. There's a long answer, but go ahead.
I'm going with the Phoenix Suns because the Suns had a chance to sneak into that play-in tournament. They had a chance to salvage somewhat of a season with Kevin Durant on the roster. Well, they've lost 6 games in a row, and they're probably out of the play-in tournament. We're going to ask a similar question coming up at the 5 at 5. What storylines are we following in the NBA? This is certainly one I'm following. It's the complete capitulation and downfall of the Phoenix Suns. That is going to be an absolute project for the next couple of years because let's be honest with ourselves. They're going to get rid of Durant. I don't know what they're going to do with Booker. He's on a contract. Someone not keeping their cool, a team not keeping their cool, look no further than the scorching frozen. What is it called? The sun,
ice cold.
The sun is going nova in Phoenix. The Phoenix Suns certainly are frozen.
Yeah, a lot of adversity given to Duke. Sure, right? Young team, very young team. But not the adversity that 2 years in prison might put you under.
Whoa.
Then coming down to Boca Raton, going to the James Hardy Pro Football Hall of Fame Invitational, and winning the whole damn tournament. Angel Cabrera kept his cool. He could have looked ahead. He could have said, hey, since I won the Masters in 2009, let's maybe relax this weekend. I don't know. No, he went to work. He showed up to Boca as an alternative. AKA, there was no guaranteed tee time for him to play in the PGA Champions event that we were at on Thursday and Friday. No, he showed up as an alternative, a late withdrawal, got him a spot in the tournament. He won the whole damn thing, shooting 11 under. And now Angel Cabrera rolls into Augusta, Georgia next week, coming off a win. His first win on the PGA Champions Tour post-incarceration. Yeah, he was put away.
Not a lot of golfers could say that. Not a lot of golfers
Guy
could
got
say
locked
that.
up.
Yeah.
Him and Scotty Scheffler.
Yeah.
That's who can say that.
That's a good point. Post-incarceration. Flipping it a little bit, talking about a team that is keeping their cool in some intense heat is, in my opinion, the Los Angeles Clippers. They got 4 games to go, and they're still in the thick of a race here. The NBA is going to get very interesting with a number of teams basically at the same exact record, 46 and 32. You got about 6 different teams that are within a game and a half, but the Clippers have played great. They're 15-5 in their last 20, 14-5, one of the two, and they've had a great March. They played good teams tough. Kawhi Leonard is healthy, and they've won 4 straight now at the point of the year where they need to win 4 straight. And they got the Spurs coming up. They still got to deal with the Rockets, who are probably locked into that 2 seed after they beat Golden State yesterday. They got the Warriors. I'm really impressed with the Clippers playing themselves out of the play-in at the moment.
Are you twisting the knife that my futures bet isn't hitting, Colin? Are you just twisting that knife?
What was that number?
It was
like
46.
43 and a half. It was 46.
It's 46 right now, and they're going to win one more game.
Yeah.
So it's over.
Yeah,
but
you're burned.
What a bet, though. Came down right to the wire.
That's how they all do it. It's incredible how Vegas does it.
It's insane how close they are on these things. Well, yeah, my ticket is dead. I got to go with Florida, guys. Christian, I apologize if you had the Gators, but the Gators, Kyle, you called them the team of destiny. It's turning out to be that way now.
They're incredible in the late game situation.
They really are, and during the wedding, Colin, I know you're going to get a kick out of this. The boys that took Florida with me, they go, "Oh, Riz, that bet was DOA on site." I go, "Boys, this is what Florida does. They go down in the first half, and then they come back and they cover the spread." How many games did they play? 5, 6? Is this their 7th game Colin played? I've bet on Florida every single game. Every single game is, and they've cashed every ticket for me. I think it's going to be the same tonight coming up, and they are certainly hotter than the sun right now. Give me the Gators as my hot team.
Christian, to finish us off?
Definitely not keeping their cool with the Toronto Blue Jays because they saw Vladimir Guerrero Jr. flirting with other teams, exploring the possibilities of continuing his young career elsewhere, and they coughed up a pretty penny. 14 years committing to Vladimir Guerrero Jr., where you're not really sure if he's going to stay in shape. Half of those years, the Blue Jays did not keep their cool. They got ransacked by Vladdy.
To that point, I love Vladdy. I think he's a top player. I think he'll be good for like 5 more years, though. Like a 14-year deal, I'll never fathom that. And that's the norm in baseball now. What did Juan Soto get, Kyle? 12? 700?
You can sacrifice a really bad end of a deal when you are in a championship winning mode, right? Where it's like, okay, we will risk having the last years of this Albert Pujols contract stink.
Yeah, Soto's was a 15-year.
Thank you.
Last years of the Stan contract, they're probably not going to be very good.
This is the norm, though, for a star player. Like, I guess the whole, like this, it's no longer a coincidence anymore. Juan Soto got the biggest deal in MLB history, fine. But now, like a player like Vladdy getting 500, Colin, every star is going to want this now. We talk all the time about salary caps and no cap in baseball. Hell, we do it in the NIL now.
You got to jump in.
This is a mess.
You got to jump in before they get the leverage, before the Guerreros of the world get the leverage. And that's why you sign Jackson Merrill. That's why you sign all these guys. Yeah,
Christian Campbell for the Sox.
Early to lock them down long term. It's better that way.
Ozzie Albies for the Braves, like you got to get out in front of it because once these guys are looking for their second contract, forget about it.
Well, right.
Or even in this case, first contract for Vladdy. I believe he was still on that rookie deal.
Because of the devaluation, bad word there, because of devaluing Shohei Ohtani's contract due to inflation with the deferrals, it's the second richest in Major League Baseball just to Juan Soto.
It's why I have such a problem with the Dodgers, Colin. And I don't mean to go too deep into the weeds here, boys, but the fact that they get Ohtani on $2 million a year and are able to get Kirby Yates, Tanner Scott, and the best bullpen in baseball is a joke.
That was our Keep Your Cool temperature check presented by John C. Cassidy Air Conditioning and Plumbing. Christian Cat, Mike Rizzo, Colin Russo, Dulo at 5 at 5, little Jonathan Zaslow at 5:20. Stick around for it. Russo and Rizzo, ESPN 106.3.
Kaiser University's flagship campus, the 100-acre residential campus at 2600 North Military Trail in West Palm Beach, extends Kaiser University's educational offerings to over 100 degrees within the heart of South Florida. Kaiser University also has an athletic program with 24 national championships, including the 2024 Women's Swimming and Diving Championship and Men's Lacrosse title. Visit KUSeahawks.com for the latest.
Anajar and Levine. Call 1-800-747-FREE. That's 1-800-747-3733.
ESPN 106.3.
WUUB Jupiter, a Good Karma Brands radio station.
Banyan Printing. For 47 years, the trusted partner for all your printing, mailing, and signage needs. And 2025 just brought something big to Banyan. Introducing Banyan's new press. Bigger, faster, and more competitively priced than anything you'll find anywhere in the Palm Beaches. Think variable data postcards, bulk mailings, and high-quality print on stocks up to a 24-point board. Banyan Printing. Visit banyanonline.com and discover how your business's printing materials can get bigger and better.
At St. Lucie Battery and Tire, batteries came before tires. We've been selling and servicing all types of batteries for over 50 years. So when you need a battery for nearly anything, we have it, as well as the fast, professional installation you need. We carry premium batteries for all your needs: automotive, commercial, marine, RV, and specialty. We also offer delivery and on-site installation. serving our customers quality products for over 50 years in the home of honest, reliable service. Go to slbt.com and book your next appointment.
It's the Hard Rock Bet Battle of the Bets. 2 bets facing off. Winning side splits $250K in bonus bets every single day. Time to pick a side. Team underdogs or team favorites. Team over or team under. There's one way to settle this. Hard Rock Bet Battle of the Bets. Pick a side for $1. Win your share of $250K or more today. Prize pool to be paid out in bonus bets. Not a cash offer. Offered by the Seminole Tribe of Florida. Must be 21 plus and physically present in Florida to wager. Terms and conditions apply. Concerned about gambling? Please call 1-888-ADMIT-IT.
Embark on a culinary road trip through South Florida at the 2025 Orange Bowl Food and Wine Celebration, presented by Florida Blue. An evening of foodie fun awaits on Friday, April 11th at the Seminole Hard Rock Hotel and Casino, with unlimited food and drink tastings from over 40 of South Florida's top restaurants and chefs, and dance the night away with the live band and DJ. Tickets start at just $125, and proceeds benefit Orange Bowl Care's community initiatives. Get your tickets at orangebowl.org.
Now, it's time for a little R&R.
All into the bucket, lays it up and in.
Ball game, Rizzo! Live in the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios, this is Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 106.3.
This team is going to be tough when they finally get it together.
Sit back and relax. Let Russo and Rizzo take you home.
Oh, mercy! Light him up, Colin!
Russo and Rizzo, second hour here on ESPN 106.3. Colin Russo, Mike Rizzo, Christian Cat with us as always. Second hour here on April the 7th edition, 2025. Go start your day off strong and go over to F45 where you can really kind of start your day off with a perfect sweat. 45 minutes in and out, 2 coaches on site, class style. So you go in, you kind of just follow along with what the screen tells you in terms of your workouts. It's perfect because it's more of the functional side of working out. You don't feel stiff after. You feel woken up. You feel great. You feel energized. And that's what F45 really specializes in. You start now, go to the downtown location or the location over in Wellington, and you get your first 3 classes for just $30 today. Go check out their Instagram to F45 downtown West Palm Beach because for me, I like to go in the morning, and it's important for me to start off my day with a win, to really get off rolling and establish some momentum. Go do it at F45. Time for us to jump around a little bit. We got Jonathan Zazzo coming up at 5:20. Let's do a little 5 and 5 presented by Flagler Credit Union.
5 topics.
High five.
5 o'clock.
It's 5 o'clock somewhere. Let's get out of here.
Endless takes.
You can't handle the truth.
All gas, no brakes.
And it's shaking big time.
It's time for the 5 at 5.
Hold on to your butts.
Presented by Flagler Credit Union, proud supporter of FAU athletics. Earn up to $700 per year with boost checking from Flagler Credit Union. Number 1.
Circling back to Duke and their collapse in the Final Four, which Mike Rizzo was tuned into, and my unconscious body was tuned into as well in Doral, Florida, at my hotel room. How bad was the Duke collapse to Houston in the Final Four?
Am I the only one who can comment on this?
I can. I watched the whole, because my good buddy John Sabalik.
Riz, they're blowing it.
We watched the final 2 minutes of the game.
Is that the John who works at ESPN Madison?
No, that's Weiser.
John Weiser. I think I enjoyed it because I love watching Duke lose, similar to I like watching Notre Dame lose. But Patriots lose, that type of thing. But what a collapse. It hurts you. Mike said it earlier in the show. It hurts you because your Duke of Florida final would have been great. But I do think this Duke-Houston game tonight is going to be very interesting. A terrible, terrible collapse. I blame John Shire more than I blame Cooper Flagg. And John Shire being the head coach, the captain of that ship. A little overrated. I know he's young, 3 years, but a little overrated.
I'm trying to think of a bigger, like a collapse. The one that comes to mind that's probably bigger is Memphis. And, you mentioned Calipari earlier, Colin, of collapsing. I will not drag Cal's name through the mud like that, but Memphis did have a collapse. They missed
Arkansas, you mean? With Texas Tech?
No, like this was years ago.
Oh,
Memphis,
all
Derrick
the way
Rose.
back down with Derrick Rose. Okay.
Yeah, like that. I compare it to that. Like that's how far back I'm willing to go. Obviously, that was in the national championship game, and Kansas ended up winning a championship off of that. But I compare it to that. Duke was the best team all year. It's crazy. It's call me I guess a sore loser. I'm not even a Duke fan. I just wanted to see Duke in Florida, but I still think Duke was the better team. They were the better team for. the whole game outside of 2 minutes and 17 seconds. A miserable collapse for the Blue Devils.
Number 2.
Duke is crying the blues, but we move on to the only two teams remaining tonight. Florida, Houston. They play for the national championship. This is going to be an instant classic like the last two games we saw in the Final Four?
I think it's going to be a very good game because Houston is the type of team, talk about resilient, that they embody that. You think Florida's resilient? Houston's on a whole nother level. They're not as talented as Florida. Florida's better at closing a game, which is why I tend to lean Florida in winning the whole thing. But if there's a team of destiny, there really is. If there's a team that's due, it's Houston. They got to win one of these games eventually. They've been to the Final Four. They've been to the Elite Eight. They've been to the Sweet 16 year in and year out. It's a great program. Kelvin Sampson's an classic, old school coach that everybody likes. They might not have the most talent, but it's an old school win for college basketball if they're able to pull it up. I would lean Florida, but watch Houston really give them a good punch.
As the veteran Bobcat Booze Hounds said at the Davis and Dumbrov wedding this weekend, we're moving on to Florida, and we're moving on to Florida. Florida's going to win this game tonight. I just hope it's a game. And you told me, Kyle, the spread is 1 according to our good friends at Hard Rock Bet. So we're expecting a close game tonight. I go back what I said earlier, though. I worry of the talent discrepancy. I worry that Florida is going to run away with this thing at some point. Now, we know Florida's not going to have their best game in the first half because, granted, we've saw that all tournament outside of the 16 seed. But I like Florida tonight, and I worry about a blowout.
Number 3.
The NBA season is coming to a close. That means playoffs are ramping up. I told Theo Dorsey earlier today is the day that I actually got excited for the playoffs in the NBA. What storyline are you following the most?
Final week of the year, it's who's going to be falling behind in that Western playoff, to play in, I should say, in the Western Conference, because you got Memphis, Minnesota, Golden State, the Clippers, all in the same record at 46 and 32. You got Denver, who has played an extra game, who's lost 4 straight, who are a half game ahead of the crowd, and they're reeling a little bit. And you got the Lakers, who won a huge game against the Thunder yesterday, who are sitting at 2 games ahead the rest of the way as well. But the Lakers, mind you, still have to deal with the Rockets and still have to deal with the Thunder again on Tuesday. That is the interest part right there, because a lot of these teams are playing each other. The Rockets play basically everybody here. Memphis and Minnesota have a head-to-head, I believe, on Thursday. And that's going to be probably a deciding game for tiebreakers on who gets into that play-in. Golden State lost yesterday, and they had a terrible game. Curry had one of the worst games of his career against the Rockets after they've been playing excellent. So that's a huge finish for them because they got to deal with the Clippers, and other than that, they have a pretty easy schedule. So that's the interest for me, is who's going to come out and avoid that play-in on the Western Conference.
Mine's an odd one, and it is the Rockets for one reason. Coach Ime Udoka, I hope I'm saying that right.
Yep.
He yelled at LeBron James before on the court, and they got into an argument. Now he's yelling at Steph Curry on the court, and they got into an argument. Hey, Ime, I don't know who the hell you think you are, but yelling at Steph Curry and yelling at LeBron James isn't a good look, bro. I'm watching the Rockets because I want to know if they're going to do something, because that coach is acting like he's a big shot.
What do you want to do, kiss their ass like their opponents?
At the same time, mate, know your place. He's a
player. He's a coach.
You're a small fry in this league. To go at LeBron James as a coach, to go at Steph Curry as a coach, is as Bush League as it gets. You want to know what I know?
You're expecting Ime to act like a fan.
You want to know
the ring?
You want to know what I know Ime Udoka for? Getting his ass kicked by LeBron nonstop in the Eastern Conference. Go do something instead of yelling at 2 of the greatest players of this generation.
So you're saying that
I had a real problem with that.
Nobody should talk to either of those 2 players?
You know I'm not a Steph Curry guy. I sports hate Steph. I respect him as a person. Great dude. But I sports hate Curry, okay? And I am all for trash talk or whatever. To do it to do this crap with LeBron and Steph, I think is Bush League. This guy better do something in the playoffs because he's got a big mouth.
LeBron's got a wife, dude. He's not going to marry you.
He's got a big mouth.
Steph's got a wife, too. They've got kids, so they're not going to marry you.
A coach is not allowed to speak to an opposing player because the opposing players are huge stars?
White knighting for basketball players.
Know your place.
Know your place, Ime Udoka.
They're on a different team.
Okay.
They're on a different team. You're not supposed to talk?
And listen, I'm not even talking about why he got fired from Boston. I'm just talking about yelling, screaming, and getting in a screaming match with Steph Curry and LeBron. No one knows who you are.
All right. I mean, Nobody should talk to Steph Curry and LeBron unless they're
He started it.
begging for their attention on their
Both like
knees.
Kim Jong-un.
Yeah.
He started. You guys are missing my point. He started both of these altercations. How about you go win something before you yell at two of the greatest of all time?
I agree with the idea that's what the Rockets kind of embody. They got Dylan Brooks there. They talk a lot of garbage, and they're trying to get under everybody's skin. It's that young team that is looking to really make their way, had a great regular season, and then all of a sudden they're going to run into a couple walls here in the postseason. So I'm expecting that.
They're the 2 seed, Kyle. They're going to lose to Minnesota. Listen, they play Memphis.
Beat Memphis.
They
would beat Memphis in 4.
They probably beat Memphis, but if they play the Timberwolves, look out.
If they play the Clippers too, that's another one. I think the Clippers would give them a really good shot too. They're gonna have that's gonna be a favorable game, a favorable series. Last one here. What we got?
4.
No.
Second to last one. It's Masters Week, but no one told Mother Nature that. In Augusta, inclement weather, patrons were barred from the grounds, and they were not allowed in whatsoever. They canceled the entire practice rounds. Here's what the powers that be at the Masters said to those that had tickets. They had to win a lottery to get these tickets. Purchasers of Monday practice rounds will be sent refunds in May and will be guaranteed the opportunity to purchase 2026 Monday practice rounds tickets. Is that fair?
Aren't you going?
I'm going tomorrow. So I was very lucky that I did not have tickets today.
How you doing? Are you flying to Atlanta?
I am flying to Savannah tonight. Right after the show ends, we're driving down to Fort Lauderdale.
Okay. Do I think it's fair? That's the right way to... How else are you going to do it, right?
Yeah, it's a very unfair situation.
It's a classy event. You can't overcrowd another day with Monday people. You can't do that. That's not fair to anybody that's there.
What stinks is the exclusivity part of it, right? People like this isn't, with all due respect, any other PGA course out there. This is Augusta. There's stricter rules. I don't know what you want them to do. Like, if they're not going to do this, what else would you want?
And then you win the next year's lottery. That's the best thing you could offer. Other than letting them go another day and sprinkling for each day, but then how do you preferential get people to go
That's what I mean.
to Saturday versus going on Thursday?
It's too hard. It's too hard to do it.
And it's also like half the battle of going to the Masters is winning the lottery. The other half is like figuring out your accommodations. So these people flew in over the weekend, and they're staying in, and they look at the weather, and then they get that notification to their phone saying, yeah, you can't show up.
Now, I don't know how many people that are going to Monday practice round are getting accommodation like right in Augusta or near Augusta or something like that. I'd imagine they're commuting in from elsewhere, similar to what you're doing.
No, you fly in. Everyone has to fly in. It's difficult.
No, but I'm saying from where they stay, if they stay overnight somewhere.
I see what you're saying.
They're not playing
top dollar.
You're probably
in.
right.
Okay.
You're probably driving in from somewhere. I'd assume. Am I wrong on that?
You're still flying. Like you still had to get your hotel.
There's just not enough accommodation for everybody there.
Okay.
So, and the people that are paying top dollar are the people that are getting to stay within Augusta. Right? That's my thing.
It's
where are you staying again?
I'm staying in Savannah the first night and then Charleston the second.
Right. So you now you have family. It's a little different, but people commute in. I feel like. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know enough about the Masters and how people stay there, but I know that people that are there for the whole week and make it a whole event, those are the people that get the houses, the townhomes, because you're making hundreds of thousands of dollars. You're spending hundreds of thousands of dollars just to stay there.
My best point I can make. What else would you want? What would be more fair? I just don't see it.
Then you're hurting everybody else by going to another day.
Alex Ovechkin completed the chase. Yes, he is the new goal-scoring king in the NHL, surpassing the great Wayne Gretzky. Was this good for the sport for this to happen over the weekend?
Hockey's had a huge year, and it's good timing because we're bringing in Jonathan Zaslow, the hockey man himself, next segment on our 5-5 Flagler Credit Union. But Ovechkin, that was an unbreakable record, basically. Breaking that 894 goals scored. Gretzky, nobody's ever going to touch the points record. But that's the great one you're talking about. Gretzky is on his own other level. And I loved how that was handled yesterday. With that Ovechkin breaking it against the Islanders. And we're going to use that to tease into the next segment because we got Jonathan Zaslow coming up. We'll talk a little Ovechkin, talk about a little wedding timing planning. Stick around for it. Russo and Rizzo, ESPN 106.3.
Live from the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 1-800-747-FREE. This is ESPN 106.3.
So, you finally have some time to yourself. Even if it is just the car ride home, it's you time. And look at you. Do not disturb set before you even got in the car? Impressive. you've earned this moment to just chill and drive. This break is brought to you by Target Zero and the Florida Department of Transportation.
As market dynamics change, the quality and service you receive from your accounting firm shouldn't. Partner-owned since 1923, Anshin Accountants and Advisors take the time to get to know you and your unique circumstances to help resolve complex issues and develop innovative tax and accounting solutions tailored to meet your goals. If you're a high net worth individual or business owner eager for a strategy to maximize tax savings, let Anshin deliver value where others can't. Visit anchin.com. Anshin Accountants and Advisors, recalculating what's possible.
Hey, ref, time out, man. All right, team, we're only down by 5. We can still win this. Grab some water and get back out there. Wait, no, not that water. That's full of contaminants and pharmaceuticals. You need Culligan water. With their free water test and reverse osmosis purification system, you'll have clean, refreshing water just like a slam dunk. Schedule your free consultation today at Culligan.com. Culligan, your partner for better water.
Hey, Culligan!
Hey everyone, it's Cade Shumslin. Every week, Land Rover Palm Beach supports local student athletes as they grow on the field, in the classroom, and in the community by naming a Player of the Week. This year, $35,000 will be rewarded to student athletes and their schools. Tune in to ESPN West Palm High School Game Day every Friday night as I unveil this week's featured athlete. If you have a great performance that I need to know about, DM us at ESPN West Palm, Land Rover Palm Beach, above and beyond.
Breaking news on ESPN 106.3 is brought to you by St. Lucie Battery and Tire.
This just in, we begin this hour with breaking news.
When news breaks, ESPN 106.3 has it covered.
We've had developments. ESPN 106.3 can now report.
When your vehicle breaks, St. Lucie Battery and Tire fixes it. Stay tuned to ESPN 106.3 for more breaking news. Brought to you by St. Lucie Battery and Tire.
The school district of Palm Beach County is your best choice.
It's time to step into kindergarten. Parents, the school district of Palm Beach County is now enrolling kindergarten students for the upcoming school year. Register now at palmbeachschools.org/kindergarten. Find out when to attend your school's kindergarten kickoff and how to get your free kindergarten readiness kit. That's palmbeachschools.org/kindergarten.
Let's get back to the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. This is Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 106.3.
Russo and Rizzo, ESPN 106.3. Colin Russo, Mike Rizzo, Christian Cat from the City Place Studios in downtown West Palm Beach. If you missed any of the program today, you want to listen back, go to Russo and Rizzo on Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts, all those great places. Also streaming live on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter /X at ESPN West Palm. Welcoming in, this would be a fun one, the voice of the 305, Jonathan Zazzo.
You might know him as the Cooper City Rattlesnake. He's the human flamethrower of Miami sports radio.
Hey, you could be a maniac without being a jerk.
The preacher of the Pat Riley Gospel.
They don't complain. They don't make excuses. This is the NBA. Deal with it.
The mayor of Dolphins Delusion.
Can the Bills offense keep up with the Dolphins offense?
And the only guy who can go from breaking down the Panthers power play to cutting a full-blown Ric Flair promo. Woo! Jonathan Zaslow is the voice of the 305.
Well, look at that, Jonathan Zazzo, the Zazzo Show 2.0. Welcome in. How you doing today? What's going on?
How am I doing? I'm about to, I'm probably about an hour or so away from dipping into the Zaslow Mansion liquor cabinet and starting to get going, get myself ready for tonight's contest, all right? So I'm doing pretty good.
Well, Zaz, you've had a big weekend because you're our hockey expert of the program. And yesterday, let's start here because I want to get your thoughts on it. And I saw you doing a little bit yesterday, was Alex Ovechkin, the new record-breaking goal king in the NHL, broke Gretzky's, in a lot of ways, an unbreakable record there on the goal score. 895 he got in the Islanders yesterday during the day. It was awesome. The NHL did a great job. They got the red carpet out. They stopped the game in the middle of the second period. Gretzky was there. He spoke. He was humble. He was gracious. The whole thing. Give me a sense of what this means to the sport of hockey and your reaction to it.
Well, the NHL's on fire this year. They really are. You know, you go back to, I'll even take it back to the Stanley Cup last year. I mean, you got an unbelievable Game 7, and then leading into this season, you then have the Four Nations during the All-Star break, which really captivated everyone. And then you got Ovechkin chasing this record and just a perfect weekend. You know, it's not like he's a compiler at all. You know, he's got 42 goals now on the season, and his team is first place in the Eastern Conference. And one of the things that I want to point out as well, it's been a celebration of Ovechkin, and it's also been a celebration of Gretzky along with the NHL. And the reason that I bring that up is, you know, it's not like what's going on now with the NBA where you got a lot of you wouldn't be able to play back in that era, and it's discrediting past players and it's discrediting today's players. And, you know, remember when Saquon Barkley was approaching the all-time rushing record, and Eric Dickerson comes out and says straight up, I do not want him to break it. I'm rooting against it, you know? Well, Wayne Gretzky is there. He's as thrilled as can be to be a part of this whole ceremony, this whole chase. He looked like he even said to Ovechkin, when you scored, you know, if you were able to see my face, I was as happy as if I scored that goal, you know? So I thought the NHL, they had a perfect weekend with him tying the record at home and then surpassing it on the road. It was really tremendous, and I'm glad that such a great sport's getting a lot of shine.
Zaz, why do you think, and I totally agree with you about the NBA and the NFL, on that, why the gatekeeping by these players? Like, don't you want to see the next generation be better?
Well, I think there's a lot of insecurity when it comes to those two sports, and I think a lot of it comes from because those guys, the NFL player and the NBA player, they're obsessed with social media. They're all over the social media. So there's a lot of insecurity. There's a lot of caring what everybody else thinks about you. And the hockey player, that's not a hockey player thing. I don't know any hockey players that are this major presence on social media. And also, it's just a difference in the game. Like, hockey, it's honor and respect, and it's playing for the guy next to you, and it's playing for the fans. It's a different culture, I think, is really what it boils down to.
I agree with the culture. It kind of lends itself to that. And I think a lot of it is how Gretzky handles himself. Gretzky even said, he said, Gordie Howe did the same thing with me. There was a lot of respect there. It was gracious. It was honorable.
I love
humility.
This story, Colin, that Gretzky told about when he was passing the record, where he said, like right before he was going to pass it, or he had tied Gordie Howe. You know, we're going back 30 years, and he was upset, and his father said to him, what's wrong? He goes, I'm embarrassed. I'm embarrassed that with this whole thing that I'm going to pass Gordie Howe. He's my hero. He's the greatest ever. Like, I'm embarrassed that I'm going to pass his record. I feel terrible. And Gretzky's father told him, you're crazy. You're going to shake the hand of the guy who passes your record one day and be a gentleman the same way Gordie is going to shake your hand and be a gentleman to you when you pass that record. I thought it was a really cool story.
And there's a trickle-down effect from that. You know, the great one, you look at how he does it, and you look how he carries himself, and he was always a very gracious person, and he had an excellent career just through and through. Yep. And a 9-time Hart Trophy winner. Like, that's what we're talking about. We're talking about the best ever. And everybody kind of follows in that. Ovechkin said the same thing. He's like, listen, I'll never hold a candle to this gentleman right here. But that environment, it's inviting, it's celebratory. You said it perfectly. It's
and it's
celebratory.
It's we, it's us,
it's team-oriented. It's very team-oriented.
I understand. Now, we saw with Kareem, though, and Zaz, maybe
Kareem did a good job with LeBron.
I was going to say Kareem and LeBron. Zaz, is it more of LeBron was with the Lakers? Why? Or I don't know. I kind of think Kareem would have done that with any. I kind of think Kareem would have done that with anybody, though.
No, Kareem did an excellent job, but you know, it doesn't. It's not the same where LeBron's been with the Lakers for 7 years. It's his fourth NBA stop.
Right.
Ovechkin, his entire career is with the Capitals. I mean, he's probably the greatest athlete in the DC era in the history of their sports. You know, you're not able to say that about LeBron. He's not even number one for the Lakers, let alone for all the sports.
Yeah, I agree with that. Jonathan Zazzo joining the program now on Russo and Rizzo. NHL, huge day yesterday with Ovi breaking that record. I thought it was really well put together. Good timing. A Sunday day game. The second he hit the power play in the second period, everybody knew to kind of lock in. 19 seconds into that, Ovi got it. So it really was. It was expertly timed.
And what a perfect day for the Islanders fan. They needed the win. I mean, they're a super outside chance to catch a wild card spot, but they needed the win. So the Islander fan, they got to see the goal, they got to see the record, and their team won the game.
I thought it was fascinating, too. Gretzky opened up the thing. He's like, thank God this team is not playing in the Nassau Coliseum anymore, and they're playing UBS, because I lost a lot of games in there, and I even went back and looked. All those early 80s teams, they beat the Oilers when Gretzky first got there in 81. They beat them in the final in 83. And, of course, they played in 84 with that great Oiler team that won and beat them in 5 or 6 games. So there was a history there, and he threw a jab at it. He's lighthearted. I loved how he handled that.
Yeah, it was great.
Now, Zaz, to segue really quick, the Final Four over the weekend.
Yeah.
Florida, a good win, a good second half over Auburn.
A night.
And Duke, especially that collapse. Give me your reaction really quick before we get into some other things on Duke collapsing there, and then a look into what's going to happen tonight between Florida and Houston.
Well, look, I think we like to do did Duke lose or did Houston win? And I really think Houston won. I really do. You know, like Duke, obviously, you got the inbounds pass, so they throw the ball away. You got a tough call, and the Cooper flag over the back.
Terrible call.
Flag obviously comes up. He front rims, the shot at the end, which is, usually a sign of nerves when you come up short like that, which makes sense because, he just turned 18 years old. And it's a team full of freshmen. But I really think Houston won that game. Like the final 10 and a half minutes, they allowed just one field goal. They changed up their defense in the second half, full court press. Duke got rattled a bit over that. And when you come from behind and win a game the way Houston did, by winning it, by playing the way that they play, like they're the best defensive team in the country. And when you come from behind winning the game because you're doing the thing that you're the best at, I really think that Houston won the game as opposed to Duke choking. And as far as the game right before it, I mean, the game. How many great things can you say about the Gators and what they did there? They were playing 5 against 8. I mean, have you ever seen officiating like that? In the final 7-8 minutes of the game, it was embarrassing. I mean, every call was against the Gators. It was painfully obvious that these calls were going against the Gators. I don't understand it.
Yeah, it was over-officiated 2 games. I agree.
Oh, it's unbelievable.
And as if the travel wasn't so blatant, they probably would have tried to give him that 3-pointer as well.
And how about the 2 clean blocks at the rim that they call fouls on the Gators? You got the loose ball foul where instead they put Broom on the free throw line, and they reviewed that one and they still got it wrong. That was very, very strange. The officials are a little bit sus, got to be honest. But look, I'm thrilled. I'm a University of Florida grad, and I'm excited about tonight. They got a chance to win their 3rd national championship, and I think they got a great chance to do it.
Jonathan Zazzo joining us now. Now, John, Zaz, Rizzo was in a wedding in Chicago.
Uh-huh.
He was over the weekend, and it was on Saturday night. Yeah. And so it was a good friend of his, the whole thing, so one of those things you got to go to. And he was telling a story about, how you managed to watch the game at the wedding. Do you tune in here, you tune in there, you hear the whole thing. I personally think it's a little selfish to set a date of a wedding on a day like the Final Four.
Right.
I think that's a little similar to the Super Bowl, similar to certain weeks in college football.
I rebutted with, I'm honestly, I was going no matter what. First off, I love Michelle and I love Mike to death. I was going no matter what. Number 2, I'm relieved it was in April because I have 4 more weddings in the summer. You know what I mean, Zaz?
You can't be relieved with the day of the Final Four.
There's a lot going on in the summer. And my friends know at this point in my life, if you get married during football season, I won't be there. I can't take off during football season.
But Final Four is all good.
This is one of those weekends where, number 1, I didn't have to be at the Final Four. None of my teams, none of my teams were playing in it. I had no problem with watching the Final Four on a phone at a table. I will say this, Zaz. 2:16, 2:10 left to go in the game. 2:20, I go on the dance floor. Duke's up 11.
I don't buy this. I don't buy you parking at the table watching the whole second half.
Duke's up 11.
I don't buy it.
Zaz, Duke's up 11. We're all good. Jenny, Nico, let's go. We're going to the dance floor. All of a sudden, 5, 10-ish minutes later, you know how long these games are, Zaz.
Yep.
Buddy John Sabolic taps me on the shoulder. Riz, they're blowing it. Blowing it. This game was over. This was signed and dealed. Zaz, I was on the train with the boys because, we all went to college together. We love gambling. We love watching sports. I rode the train of favorites. Favorites got me a lot of Imperial credits in my Hard Rock app. I was riding all the favorites. I told the boys, I said, it's the favorites day again. We won Florida already. I said, we put those credits right back on Duke. We're going to have Duke and Florida. I felt personally responsible for that Duke loss. What a complete capitulation. But I have no issue with watching the Final Four on a phone at my buddy's wedding.
I have
no issues.
You don't schedule a wedding during that
I don't
day.
think it's selfish.
I got to tell you.
I don't think it's selfish, and I'm completely fine with it. I have no problem doing that.
I got to tell you, I have no problem with it. I have no problem with it because here's why. First of all, when you're scheduling the wedding, you can't schedule for the Super Bowl. You can't schedule for the national championship, college football.
Football season's against that. Let's call it for what it is. Football season's off limits,
week 4 of the
bro.
college football season, that's more of a personal interest thing. 20 million people watch Final Four.
Right.
Acting like it's not a big deal, and all of a sudden week 4 of college football is off limits.
Football season's off limits.
I don't have a problem with it for the Final Four. And I will tell you, it's different nowadays than it was, say, 25, 30 years ago. I think that's a fun little bonding thing that you do at the wedding where you're all crowding around. Everybody's got the phone.
Yeah.
Everyone's got a phone.
Everybody's
You can watch the game wherever you are, and then you're with all your friends.
But
You're all together
what about
watching.
the bride and the groom? Hold on a second. They're
What's
watching.
their problem?
They're tuned in
Right,
to
they're fine
to
with
an
it.
hour and a half, second half
Zaz-
of Duke Houston,
Right,
and
and
they
Mike-
want that to be the
Mike
highlight of
and
the
Well,
show.
but we're talking about the invitees here. I mean, the bride and the groom, you're screwed. Like, you planned the wedding on a
Right,
bad day.
exactly.
But I get to watch. I'm going to put the game on my phone here, the table. I'm going to watch with my friends. I got drinks. I assume it's an open bar. I think it's a great scenario, if I'm being honest.
I disagree because you're not actually watching the game.
And Zaz,
I can't listen to the fact that you're actually watching the game because it's not true.
Mikey, my buddy Mike Davis, huge listener of Russo and Rizzo, he said 2 things. He goes, Riz, tell Colin to kick rocks, and I hope his closest friend's wedding is during Wisconsin versus Ohio State, game day, 8 p.m. in Wisconsin. I had to tell him that Colin hates his alma mater, one of the only people on the entire planet that hates his alma mater and doesn't root for the teams. And then secondly, he said also, the ceremony was actually before the first game even began.
Okay.
And everyone was able to lock in, and we had these games
I don't have
on
a problem
the
with it.
table.
I really don't.
Dude,
it's not the same.
But Zaz, you want to know?
Listen to how everybody was tuned into Duke Houston play by play. I can't listen to that. That's not the case.
Do you want to know a lesson I learned? Is that I got to finish the game, though. I told you, up 11, 2:25 left to go.
That's a bad job out of you. You can't step away.
Nico, Jenny, let's go. We're the winnings.
Rizzo is lying here.
Let's go.
He's lying here. I'm thoroughly convinced that he was not tuned in play-by-play in the second half. He was not doing that. You're at a wedding.
We were.
And I don't fault you for it because you're at a wedding. You're at a wedding.
I think it's fun.
I don't fault you for it because you're at a wedding. I blame the bride and the groom for scheduling on that date.
Now, I had a wedding. My wedding, by the way, I think at the time, 2007, Game 2, World Series. You got a problem with that?
Game 2 is
Colin
different.
wouldn't
It's
be
not
there.
a win
He
or go
wouldn't be
home.
there.
But
Colin
I
wouldn't be
agree.
there.
Rockies, Red Sox, I believe it was.
So this was a weekend. This was during football season.
Saturday
then, huh?
night. Yeah, it was a Saturday night.
Did you miss anything on the college football side of things?
I mean, nothing that I'm remembering.
Okay.
Should have been the Guardians.
So the one thing about that is Game 2, you could get away with it comparatively to a Game 7.
Well, obviously I didn't know it was going to be Game 2, but I knew it was going to
Yeah.
we scheduled the wedding a year in advance.
Well,
I didn't know which game.
You have a sense of when Game 2
could be the World Series.
Yeah.
Could be the World Series.
So Colin wouldn't. No. I'm not letting him off the hook. He wouldn't be there, Zaz. He'd respect. If you guys were close friends, he'd go, guys, sorry, I got to watch the game. That's what he told me earlier.
Everyone came for mine.
told me.
Everyone came. Wasn't that big a deal?
No, not at all.
So
Not at
when
all.
does it get selfish?
Well, the Super Bowl,
Right.
and I think the national championship for college football.
What about the rivalry week?
No.
For me, yes. Now, different situations.
Only so many arguments you're going to win with the wife as far as when you can and can't schedule
That's
the
what
match.
I tried
Hold on,
telling
maybe
him.
she's a sports fan. Hold on. Colin playing the other side. Maybe at a certain point, there's a 7-week period after the Super Bowl that you could get married, and then there's a 2, 3, maybe 4-month period after April that you could get married. There it is. Do it those times, that 5.5 months, and stay away from the rest. That is it. And don't do destination weddings. It's a waste of time.
No, you can't do the destination.
Dude, Zaz,
That's selfish.
Yeah, can't do destination.
I had to tell, I had my...
You'll be stuck over there. You can't get reception on your phone. You're missing the Final
Colin,
Four.
and honestly, I'm not a phony for this because one of my best friends growing up, Rylan Puzatello, had a destination wedding in Florida during Thanksgiving. Hey, Zaz, Jewish
He
families...
doesn't want you to go when he does that.
Hang on. Jewish families, Italian families, very similar as far as core values. You try telling your friggin' grandmother you're not going to be at Thanksgiving. What?
No, your friend didn't want you to come.
What?
You're doing a destination wedding on Thanksgiving. They don't want you to come.
Honey, you're not coming
Selfish.
to Thanksgiving?
Selfish. That's it.
Yeah.
You try telling
Similar
my grandmother
to how
that.
it's selfish to do it during the Final Four.
No.
Selfish.
No.
I think it's a fun experience for everybody there. You're all watching the game together.
Nobody's doing that.
Zaz, we're on the dance floor dancing to some ZZ Top. I get a tug on my shoulder.
Riz, they're blowing it.
What do you mean?
Mike watched 2 minutes of that Duke game.
Now, if it's your team, like if it were Ohio State, all right, or me, like it's University of Florida here, or even the Miami Hurricanes, and it's a wedding, that's a disaster. I don't want to watch it on my phone.
That's a disaster.
That's a disaster.
And that's why you avoid the date altogether.
But
that's
Zaz,
why you avoid the date altogether, Zaz.
I am the friend who would be there and would be making a complete you-know-what of himself during the recession watching my team play. And guess what? They wouldn't want it any other way.
Depends for me what's going on. Depends how close the friend is. Depends.
Okay.
I might have to miss it. Depends.
That's what I'm saying. Avoid the date altogether.
Depends how close I am.
Do it all together. There's an avoiding here.
But they know, like
Zaz,
with me, like they know not even to ask with football season. That's like the non-negotiable for all of us.
And
in
I understand.
business.
Happy wife,
Can't
happy
take
life.
off.
Sometimes you don't have a say in this.
You know, if I got tickets to Pearl Jam that night and it's a wedding, I'm missing the wedding. I gotta go see Pearl Jam. I'm missing the wedding.
Zaz, you've seen him 40. Hang on. You've seen him 40 times.
Yeah, I'm seeing him 3 more times the end of this month. Very excited.
All right. You're going to 3 days in a row?
3 and 8 days.
Okay. Zaz, where can people tune into you if they want to listen to more?
You can download Zaslow Show 2.0 wherever you get your podcasts, all right? Everything Miami Sports, everything 305. I love you a long time. Make sure you like, you rate, you comment, you do all that good stuff. It's great for the algorithm, all right? So Zaslow Show 2.0, and every episode is presented by Anajar and Levine, Accident Attorneys, 800-747-FREE. You're involved in any kind of an accident, you're dealing with a personal injury, you call 911 first. You got to make sure you're safe, and then Anajar and Levine, they will get you the compensation you deserve. 800-747-FREE, 800-747-3733.
Appreciate it, Zaz, as always. Talk next week, all right?
My man, Zaz.
Good job, guys. See ya.
Jonathan Zazzo, of course, of the Zazzo Show 2.0. We get the national championship tonight. You're in the thick of the NBA final part of the regular season. You got NBA Saturday to kick off the postseason in just about a week. You got the Masters coming up this weekend. There's a lot to look forward to, a lot that you're going to be watching regardless. You might as well sprinkle a little action on it on the Hard Rock Bet app. If you download it now in the Google Play Store or the Apple App Store, go to hardrock.bet online to get started today. Hard Rock's the best because it's catered to both types of players. If you're a brand new player and you don't really know what you're doing on a sports book, great. It's easy to get acclimated. It's easy to get your feet wet. Check out the Discover page. You can see intricate parlays and just tag along just a few short taps. Or if you're the sophisticated player and you want to utilize the Battle of the Bets, or you want to utilize the Overs-Unders Club and all the different games that they have available on the Discover page, you could do that as well. Catered to both types of the spectrum, both ends of the spectrum, if you will. And you get up to $100 back in bonus bets if your first bet does not hit. That first bet can be a parlay, a prop, the over, whatever you like to bet, any game you choose. Win that first one and get the same amount you bet back as a bonus bet. It's Hard Rock Bet, offered by the Seminole Tribe of Florida. Must be 21 plus and physically present in Florida. The wager terms and conditions apply. Considered by gambling. Call 1-888-ADMIT IT. Well, we're going to go streaking, presented by Hard Rock Bet. On the flip side of things, close out the program here on a Monday edition of Russo and Rizzo, ESPN 106.3.
Live from the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 1-800-747-FREE. This is ESPN 106.3.
The college basketball mania is here, so grab your MVP card and head on over to Duffy's to enjoy their courtside favorites, famous award-winning jumbo wings, certified Angus beef burgers, and 2-for-1 drinks all day, every day. You'll never miss a minute of the action. And while it's tournament time, it's also Taste of Ireland time with special items like Irish potato skins and the Reuben burger. Visit Duffy'sMVP.com to find a Duffy's near you. And remember, Duffy's, our game is always on.
Still getting around to that fix on your car? You got this. On eBay, you'll find millions of parts guaranteed to fit. Doesn't matter if it's a major engine repair or your first time swapping your windshield wipers. eBay has that part you need, ready to click perfectly into place for changes big and small. Loud or quiet, find all the parts you need at prices you'll love. Guaranteed to fit every time. But you already know that. eBay. Things, people, love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Who's cutting down the nets this year? Get in on all the tournament action at ESPN Bet Sportsbook. Go from tracking the latest upsets to placing bets in just a few taps. Right now, new customers can get $100 in bonus bets when you make your first $10 wager. Download the ESPN Bet Sportsbook app and sign up with promo code USL to get started today. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Terms and conditions apply. See app for details. Offer not available in New York.
The quality of our choices affects the quality of our lives. So, when it comes to how you move, do you choose to see a doctor or go to the #1 orthopedic specialist in the world, backed by a team who custom tailor your treatment? Do you choose to live with limitations or live life to the fullest by going to the place that's #1 at getting people back to what they love? Choose better, move better. Locations in West Palm Beach and Wellington. Learn more at hss.edu/Florida.
Marlins fans, are you ready for 3 days of music, dancing, and fun for the whole familia? Your fan favorite, Rumba Venezolana Weekend is back on April 11th, starting with Fiesta Friday. Then Saturday, catch Chino y Nacho live on the field after the game in a can't-miss performance. Plus, upgrade your ticket to score an exclusive Marlins Venezuela Heritage jersey. Está fino. Get your tickets now at marlins.com/tickets.
Want to accelerate your career as a manager or executive in the exciting industry of sports? Florida Atlantic University's MBA in Sport Management program is ranked #1 in Florida and 10th in the world. Students learn practical and applied skills from top faculty and experts who work in the industry. With a 94% placement rate for all grads, the full-time MBA program sets students up for success in the world of sports. Check out Florida Atlantic University's MBA in Sport Management program today by going to business.fau.edu.
Your golf tip of the day is presented by the Club at Lost Lake in Hope Sound. Side spin is never good for a putt. Even the slightest rotation left or right can knock your ball offline by feet. To avoid slicing your putt, draw a straight line all the way around your golf ball. Place the ball on the green with the line pointing directly at the hole for a relatively straight putt. When putting, use a smooth pendulum stroke. Hit the ball so that the line rolls end over end. If the line wobbles, side spin is affecting your putt. A great way to practice is with the push drill. Place the putter directly behind the ball and push it straight toward the hole, focusing on a smooth roll. Once you master this, gradually add your backswing to perfect your stroke. A ball that starts online tends to stay online, so take the time to align your shot carefully. Trust the process, and with practice, your consistency will improve dramatically. Remember, every detail matters when it comes to precision. For more on memberships, visit theclub@lostlake.com.
Tired of being sidelined by a sports injury? Get back in the game with Baptist Health Orthopedic Care. Whether you're a professional athlete or even a weekend warrior, you can get back to doing what you love with our compassionate orthopedic team. Experience a new level of care and get back to your best. Welcome to being treated like a pro. Make an appointment today at baptisthealth.net/ortho or call 833-556-6764.
Let's get back to the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. This is Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 106.3.
So we're at the point of the day where we have a couple big things to look forward to and a couple things to either make or lose money on. Lose money if you're Rizzo. And Christian and I looking to find a little bit of a streak here.
That's not the spirit of the game.
It's Russo and Rizzo on ESPN 106.3 from the City Play Studios in downtown West Palm Beach. You're missing the program today. You want to listen back? Go back to Russo and Rizzo, Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts, all those great places to listen back in podcast format. Also streaming live, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter /X at ESPN West Palm, 4 to 6 weekdays right here on ESPN 106.3. It's time for us to make a pick against the spread, try to put together a little momentum. It's time for us to let's go streaking with Hard Rock Bet.
Time to put your money where your mouth is.
We can't lose. We can't lose. We can't lose.
Survive and Advance is the name of the game.
That's right! We can't have anyone freak out there, okay? We've got to keep our composure!
Tail the hot hand.
Continue this improbable run. 22 consecutive wins.
And fade the cooler.
Everything he touched turns to mush. He would go to the racetrack, and the teller would give him his tickets already ripped out.
Let's go streaking.
We're going streaking!
Presented by Hard Rock Bet.
Well, when we go streaking, presented by Hard Rock Bet, what we do is we try to put together a little bit of a hot streak or cold streak with our Hard Rock Bet app. We go through, we pick a game, one apiece, me, myself, Mike, and Christian, and we determine who is hot, who is not. Christian, what are the tallies at the moment?
So So right now, Mike Rizzo is ice cold in all the best ways
which is
possible.
a good thing. Which is
exactly.
a good thing.
The objective of this is to have as long as a streak as possible, which means you could be red hot, you could be ice cold. What you don't want to be is right in the middle, where I find myself right now. Rizzo, you're on a 3-game losing streak. Russo, you're on a 2-game losing streak. I'm on a measly 1-game winning streak.
Yeah, gross.
I sold my soul to the devil by taking the Pirates live plus 6.5 against the Yankees in the middle of Friday afternoon's show. So you guys are both beating me so far. Russo, you high watermark was 2 wins in a row. Now you have 2 losses in a row. And Rizzo, you're still alive, my man.
So, do you want me? I'm the headliner. Do you want me to go last or first?
Start us off. We don't want to take your pick.
San Francisco minus 120. I am going with the Dogs team here with the Giants minus 120. And guess who they're playing?
Who?
The Reds. And they're on my you-know-what list. How many times am I going to take the Cincinnati Reds and have them screw me over? Well, guess what?
I warned you.
I'm on the right side of things tonight. The Reds are terrible. San Francisco is free money. Logan Webb's gone 14 innings and 2 starts, 11 strikeouts. He's facing Hunter Green, who throws 100 miles an hour. But the problem is, the ball goes faster around the park when you get a hold of it. I'm sick of Cincinnati. I'm sick of Tito. Give me San Francisco. Minus 120 tonight. That's going to break the streak. I know, Riz, it's good that you're losing. I don't want to be a loser. I don't want to be known as
Cincinnati's
mush.
going to get on a hot streak tonight.
I don't want to be known as mush from a Bronx Tale. Come on, man. Get me off this streak. Give me San Francisco tonight.
Fair enough. All right, I warned you, by the way. The Reds, every year
They're
we hear
terrible.
how the Reds are going to be back.
Oh, my God.
And how the Reds are finally going to rebuild every year.
Christian goes, Riz, how about the one you missed? What was it, Thursday night? They lost 1-0. 1-0. Oh, my God, it's the worst kind of bet to lose.
So, if you're new to the show, omniscient narrator speaking, Rizzo's ice cold. You don't take the Giants. You take the Reds. That's how you win. Russo, who you got tonight?
I'm going to take the national championship game, Florida minus 1.5. Now, I would have liked it a little bit more if it's -1, but minus 1.5. I think Florida. You're talking about 2 teams with magic. I'm not doubting Houston. I think this is going to be a very good back and forth game. I just trust, unlike I did with Duke, I trust Florida's ability to close a game comparatively to what Houston is. How Walter Clayton, and I checked, and I don't usually check the NBA mock drafts, but how Walter Clayton is floated as a late first-round pick is beyond me. Now, you might bring up the Jimmer Fredettes, Shabazz Napiers of the world who never really panned out after huge tournaments. I think this guy's different because at a certain point, this guy's a professional basketball player. And he's got a little Jamal Murray to him. He hits big shots. He's good going to the basket. He's a big body. I can't listen to this scout wizards trying to tell me that he's too old and he's too small. That guy is a professional basketball player. I'm so shocked by that, but I'm going to take Florida minus 1.5 tonight.
I'm kind of sad that this Thunder-Lakers game is tomorrow and not tonight because I have that circled right now. So put that in your tickler file. I'm going to also stay in the national championship game tonight. I'll take the under. I feel like a winning formula in college basketball is betting on missed shots and not made shots. Take under 140.5. Maybe I'll build a winning streak. I'm on a 1-game winning streak all way.
Houston, very defensive
Houston,
team.
I'm sure the idea on their on their whiteboard is keep it under 70.
Rock fight.
Yeah, they did it technically with Duke. Keep it under 70.
I want bumps and bruises on knees. I want court burn.
They run suicides and they throw elbows. Have you seen the videos of their practices?
Oh, it's insane.
They're just dive on the floor for two straight hours. It's so old school. You have to admire it.
Didn't I see somewhere? Sorry for bringing this half-baked fact forward, but their average team mile was like 5:21.
It was like 5:17.
Yeah, and you heard that during the pregame show in San Antonio, and it's fascinating.
And one of their players who was like 6'9", 250, had like a 5:30 mile, 5:40. That is an incredible time for a mile.
Dude, it's unreal. I do mine in 9. Guys, I'd be on my deathbed. 5? My God.
So, Russo, you got the Gators tonight. Rizzo, who you got?
San Francisco minus 120.
Well, I meant the national championship game.
Oh,
just in general.
Gators.
Yeah, I got the Gators too.
I
don't like that. Now I feel like it's
told the boys.
Don't like that.
Told the Bobcat booze hounds at the wedding to throw it on the Gators tonight. So fade accordingly.
Don't like that. All right, I wouldn't be shocked if we come in tomorrow celebrating a Houston championship. But that was Mike Rizzo, Christian Cat, Colin Russo with you on Russo and Rizzo, ESPN 106.3. We continue on. Listen in tomorrow, 4 to 6 p.m. right here on ESPN 106.3.